What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
You want healthy children. Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
Come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Hey, what's going on a Saturday evening? I saw somebody say that the sound wasn't working, but I'm pretty sure that's just your computer because I'm pretty much hearing the sound and my microphone's not off. So welcome everybody to the Saturday edition of the AMFEST show. A lot of guests were earlier. Coming up tonight, Byron Donalds, Glenn Beck, and I'm going to get into the show in a second, but I just want to explain something to you. The reason why I am not on Rumble tonight, there's nothing wrong with Rumble, except they only allow you to put up or schedule in advance one live stream at a time. On my other platform, I could basically set up 6 or 7. So I wanted to make sure that I had tomorrow's event, which is the big event, with Donald Trump, Matt Gaetz, Ted Cruz, Tom Homan. I wanted to make sure that one was set up on Rumble. And tonight I just use X and YouTube because it's what I could do with the software. So I hope everybody's doing okay. Hope everybody had a great Saturday. Notre Dame won last night, so I'm feeling really good. I don't really care about the Dolphins anymore, so I hope you guys are feeling good. Hope you've been seeing some of the things that have been happening at AMFEST. Amazing. Excuse me. Amazing event put on by Charlie Kirk and his team. I just love what they're doing, especially because they're doing so much for the young people. So without further ado, I think it's best that we get into it. The first person up right now is Brandon Tatum. I know a bunch of you guys yesterday said you wanted to hear from Brandon Tatum, and here he is. And it's Officer Tatum to you.
What's up, AMFEST? Man, it's a lot of good people in this house tonight, or this morning, I'd say. But I want to say this to start it off with. I want to give a special thank you to a few guests that are here that mean a lot to me, my motivation, my encouragement to continue to do what I do, and it is my wife, my mama, and my 2 boys that are sitting right over here. Y'all show them some love. And aren't you guys glad that we freaking won? I couldn't imagine what this event would be like, but we don't have to wonder because we kicked their tail in this election. And I'm excited about it because we deserve the victory. I told you guys last year when I came here to speak, and I told you to be encouraged, I told you to continue to fight, and we're going to make it happen, and we did just that. Conservative values are values that make America great. And if we continue to espouse those values, continue to believe in God, we'll continue to make this country the best that we can possibly make it. And Donald Trump, I have to give my hat off to a man that withstood an assassination attempt. They tried to put the man in prison. They tried to damage his character and reputation, but he stood strong and won this election. And these leftist nut jobs thought they were going to do it this time, using the media to lie, calling us Nazis. What a bunch of idiots. And I'm glad that they continue to say the stuff that they say. I want to give a shout out to The View. Them cackling hens make me so much money. They can't stop losing, but it's good to talk about it. And I'm glad that they're sticking to their guns because they'll never win another election acting the way that they're acting. I honestly believe that with organizations like Turning Point USA and all of you guys in the room, we're probably going to have 12 more years. And I don't know if J.D. Vance sees this, but at first I wasn't a big J.D. Vance fan. When Trump picked J.D. Vance, I heard all that stuff he said about Donald Trump, and I said, Trump, what are you doing? And then I saw J.D. Vance speak, and he get on television and he whooped them like they stole something. And I'm not going to lie, I'm encouraged and excited. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but I'm excited for a J.D. Vance presidency as well. And one thing that I often think about every time I speak, because everybody can talk to you about politics and get you all riled up, but one thing I want you to focus on is your relationship with God first. I'm not here to talk about anybody else or any other speaker or anything like that, but I know that there's a need for us to not forget where we came from. The reason that I'm here on this stage right now, the reason that I've been having as much success as I've had, it's not because I'm so handsome and good looking. I know some of y'all think that. I know my wife do at least. It's not because I'm just some great orator and all of that. It's because I put God first and I believed in God's plan for my life. And don't get me wrong, I love politics, but I love my relationship with God even more. And young people often think about this because most of you guys in here are young college students. Most of you think about this. How do I accomplish my purpose? How do I get to where I want to be in life? And I already told you the first step is God, but the second step is you have to believe in yourself. Never let anybody tell you that you can't accomplish the dreams and goals that you put forward. And you have to be consistent with those things. And you will be who you want to be one day. Y'all can give that a round of applause. Another thing that I often think about, and I saw it on television yesterday, and I think it's embarrassing, is how they've changed their attention from Donald Trump to now Elon Musk. Isn't it amazing that they told us for the longest that Donald Trump was a threat to democracy, that he's going to ruin America, that he's going to crash the economy, that we should be afraid of him, he caused an insurrection, all of that stupid stuff that they said. And now that they realize that they could not stop him from becoming the president, they now have targeted the long game. Because Donald Trump has 4 more years, unfortunately. I almost wish he can do another 8. They robbed him of the first one. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I wish he can do 8. But they understand he only has 4 years. But Elon Musk, for whatever reason, that money can go a long way. And they're going to have to distract him and stop him and damage his character. But that should tell you everything you need to know about the left. When they can't beat you on merit, when they can't defeat you fair and square, they want to ruin your reputation. And I know a lot of you guys experienced that on campus. I've been to campus. I've seen how nutty some of these people are. And I'll never forget at the University of Washington. Who in here is from the University of Washington or go to that school? We got one over here, thank God. But I remember going to that campus and I could feel the vitriol off of these people. I had my MAGA hat on. I'm walking through the campus and everybody looked at me like I was a three-headed monster. They had never seen a black man that can think for himself. And to me, the hat doesn't just represent Donald Trump, it represents all of us. I remember when he got shot, and you know how crazy that was? It had to have been the grace of God that caused Donald Trump to turn his head at a 45-degree angle and miss that bullet whizzing by his ear. It had to have been God. There is no way whatsoever that all of those things could have happened that way and Trump came out victorious. But when I saw that, I didn't just think about Trump. Of course, I was glad he was okay. He got up like a boss with his fist in the air. But I thought about them trying to assassinate our dreams, our goals, assassinate what our founding fathers established in this country. They tried to assassinate all the men and women who lost their lives for us to be free. All of the civil rights activists who put in the work, put in the time, took the ridicule and punishment so that we can all sit in a room like this, shoulder to shoulder, believing in something and not have to worry about somebody judging you on the color of your skin. They tried to assassinate our purpose, but God had another plan. I want to establish this point as well. When we look back at the Biden administration, which has been the worst administration on planet Earth, if you ask me, obviously they lost the election in a landslide. But I believe God had his hand in that as well, and let us not forget that. Do we think that God thought that Joe Biden was good enough to be the president? No. It was that God knew we need to wake up. He knew we needed to see what the true colors of the Democrat Party were. And we did. And we decided to vote the right direction this time. Let me speak to the young men real quick. I spoke about this the other day because I want you all to leave here with something other than just politics. The greatest accomplishment that a man will have in his life that's going to be the biggest determining factor in his success by and large is the person you marry. I'm going to let that ruminate for a minute. Same with women, but I'm going to talk to the young boys for now, young men. The person you marry will help you become what God has called you to be, or the person can tear you down. I know you guys seen this little situation going on with Travis Hunter. Do not, by any means, have a woman in your life that's not looking out for your best interests. Young women, I want you to think the same thing when you are looking for someone that you plan on marrying. Make sure it's a young man with integrity. Make sure that you go through life and find your purpose. The problem with these situations, and young people experience this all the time, and the reason I talk about this because when I was your age, a lot of what I was thinking about was being in a relationship and being married and all of that. It consumed a lot of the things that I thought about. But I want to give you guys some guidance to do it the right way. You should be purpose-driven first. Find out who you are. Find out what you like, what your interests are, so you can better navigate the person that you will have in your life. If you go on a date, young women, and that brother asks you to split the bill, I almost told you to call the police, but you can't call the police. They ain't going to do nothing for you. It should be a crime for you to take a woman on a date and you can't pay. And young men, listen to me very clearly, because it's not a knock on your finances. But if you take a young lady on a date and you can't pay, that means you ain't ready yet. trying to look in the crowd. Y'all brothers better be clapping too. I'm trying to school you on some stuff. Because what women deserve and what they look for is protection and stability. If you cannot offer that to a young lady, she should not be with you and should not marry you. Young women, be the light in your husband's life. That give him life, inspire him to be great. Don't be nagging and dragging him down and complaining at a Heisman Trophy award ceremony at a meet and greet. Don't be that person. I got somebody that loves me right over there. Don't worry about it. But those things are the concepts and the reality that's going to make us greater. The attack on the family is what their obligation is to try to stop us from accomplishing what we want to accomplish as the American people. We have to build the nuclear family, and we have to build it strong. And how I know that the concept is true is because God has already ordained that. That's how they get us. They attack the family first. They divide the husband and wife. Then they divide the kids out. You take them to the university, indoctrinate them, and they wake up hating their parents. They wake up hating America. They wake up hating freedom. And then we have a fallen society. Then they want to trick us to give away our rights for the sake of weaponized empathy, for them to have complete control. And we will not have that. I want you all to be inspired to step up and continue to move forward in a way in which you've never done before. Last year, I told you we will win if you do the things that I'd asked you to do, and we did that. But it's not enough to win one game. We have to be focused on the future. We have the message that should allow us to win forever in America. I liken our experience to a playoff game. I know some of y'all can't wait to go look at the NCAA playoffs. I was looking at it back there. It looked like SMU ain't doing a good job, all right? But anyway, hope none of y'all go to SMU. But it's like the first round of the playoffs. You go, you prepare, you win, you celebrate. And what we did after a game when I played college football is that night we celebrated. And the next morning you got to wake up and get the business. You got to wake up and watch film. You got to wake up and prepare because you have another victory ahead of you that you have to perform for. We just won the election. Have a good time at AMFEST. Enjoy yourself. Don't do nothing crazy and go to jail out here, especially if you don't live out here, all right? But have a good time. Enjoy the victory. Meet new people. Build friendships and relationships. But when you leave here, you better leave here changed. Leave here with a fire in your belly to be a greater person, to be a greater American, to be greater for your community, to be a great son, great daughter, great husband, great wife. You should leave here better. You should leave here more inspired. You should leave here with the mission that we're going to whoop them every single time we go to the ballot, whether it's local, whether it's federal. In every aspect of your life, you have to be a winner. And it starts with you understanding that God has a purpose for you. And you don't have to build off of somebody else's path and get discouraged or encouraged. That's not up to you to do. You have to understand that God has identified you, know you by name before you were born. Gave you a DNA strand that's unique to you, fingerprints that nobody else have. He know you as an individual, and he has called you to do something special. And you know what that is, and you have to activate. Enough of the talking, enough of the wishful thinking. It's time to activate. And I have the encouragement after meeting with many of you guys at the meet and greet at my booth. I've seen you show up. Y'all flown from all around the country. I'm inspired, and I know we're going to do this again. Are y'all with me? I want us to have that winning mentality. I told them I'll open it up for Q&A. I thought Kari Lake, that was pretty cool what she did. So I want to just finish with this. Remember your purpose. Remember the plan that God has for you. If you want to ask a question, come to the question area, and you'll see the people with the lights on them with the microphone. I'll answer as many questions as I can in a short period of time. But God bless you guys. God bless America. And let's continue to fight the good fight.
Hi, I know you're a big college football guy. Was Ashton Genty robbed of the Heisman?
Uh-oh. I can barely hear you. You said, was Ashton Genty robbed of the Heisman?
Yep.
I do not think Ashton Genty was robbed of the Heisman, okay? Let me just tell you why real quick. You don't have to agree with me. All right, it's America. Let me just, he says a stolen election. Let me tell you why I think so. Real quick, Ashton Genty was a tremendous player. The unfortunate part about Ashton Genty's experience there at Boise State, they didn't have the opportunity to play against a lot of competition. And so his stats and him running for all those yards didn't look as good to the people who were voting for the Heisman. However, Travis Hunter did something that no other player has ever done, and I don't think ever could do. For you to play every snap on offense, defense, and dominate on both sides of the ball on Colorado's team, which is not a very impressive team, I think that he deserved to have that victory. That's just my opinion. Don't kill me over it. Next person.
Hey, Brennan. So I basically from New Jersey, so we won over in New Jersey. We got 2020. President Biden, he won 15% of the vote in New Jersey. This year, the Democrats won less than half of that. So we're making great strides in New Jersey, and I just want to say I went to thousands of houses, and we also have early voting. So we did a week in advance. You can pretty much vote. I just want to know your opinion on that. Do you think more states should have like early voting?
Well, yeah, I think they should. I mean, I would love for every state to go to just on election day only, but there's too many complications. We saw it in Arizona. On election day, somehow the machines ain't working. We can't have that. We need to have every opportunity for people to be able to go out and participate in the election. There's some people they're too much of procrastinators to have only one day. I'm one of them. I'd mess around and miss the whole thing and forget about it. So we want to have more access for people to be able to have chances to communicate with their family members and get them encouraged to go out and give them a span of time. I look at election and voting opportunities like I do with donations. If you tell a person you can only bring a check into the facility on one day, you're not going to get as many people participating as if you give them the option to do it online. You give them the option to do it a little bit early. I'm not saying you got to vote online, but you guys get what I'm saying. You need to produce a lot more opportunity so people can participate freely. Okay, next question.
Hi, my name is Abigail Vallandingham. I'm from Kentucky, and I was wondering what kind of advice do you have for married couples, and also how would you combat violent threats on campuses due to politics if you were a disabled person and when there's no campus carry?
Okay, I missed the first part of that question.
What kind of advice do you have for married couples?
Married couples?
Yes.
Oh, well, I got it. How much time you got? No, realistically, I think that when you decide to get married, it is a commitment for life. Congratulations. It doesn't matter how you feel. Sometimes you're going to be upset. My wife get probably upset with me half of the time. Too bad, because we married, right? But you also have to do this. Let me say this. I think it's important. All jokes aside. As a husband, your entire mission and goal is to say, how do I serve my wife? That's my whole goal in life. And wives, how do I serve my husband? If two people are spending all of their time, effort, and energy not being selfish in what you're going to do for me, but if you think, what can I do for my spouse? Both people doing that back and forth, that's going to be a long marriage. Don't be selfish, and you will have a long-lasting marriage. What were you saying? One more?
This will be the last question.
Okay, perfect.
Hello, Officer Tatum. It was a pleasure to see you. I actually had one question regarding about dating and marriage. So I actually also live in Washington State, and it's a prime example over there. And I also wanted to apologize that you had to suffer so much animosity over at UW. But that's actually pretty much like the cause of Washington State, because they don't have the best people. But about dating, don't you think like in 2024, I personally think in a few ways that it's not a bad idea for the woman to go approach the man rather than the man to go approach the woman. What do you think about that? Because with so much fake cases and whatnot, and with the degradation of respect to a man, I think I would like to hear your thoughts on that. I apologize to ask that, but thank you.
Thank you for that. Hey, women, what do you think about approaching a man versus a man approaching a woman? I think you got your answer. But I know why a man would feel that way, because sometimes it's very difficult to be rejected. So women, y'all also have to be friendly enough, right? You can't walk around with a resting face, if you know what I'm talking about. Unapproachable. I don't like him because he's not 6'2". Don't be that person. Be open-minded to date. Because I'm going to keep it real with y'all. Me and the wife talk about this all the time. If you worried about height, you finna be single for a long time. Because there's like 1% of guys who are 6'2", and you think they got to make money too? Y'all want unicorns out here. You can give a man a grace. They trying, okay? Women, they trying. They need y'all. All right? They need y'all to get the hygiene right. They need y'all to boost them up. My wife, when we first got married, I think I was aight with the fashion and stuff. She didn't want me to wear those holy jeans last time, so that wasn't her. Don't blame her, it was me. But my wife bossed me up. I ain't know how to dress. I ain't know what kind of stuff to have, but I had a good wife that elevated me a little bit. So women, if you see a man with some good potential, give him a little booster. Elevate him up. He'll be the man you want him to be. All right? God bless you guys. I wish I had more time. Keep fighting the good fight. Enjoy your time here at AMFEST.
All right, so some of you guys were asking a question. Let me just, this is me from the real time. It's right now, it is 5:27 on the East Coast. So this is an awkward day at AMFEST where they had, somebody goes, is this live or you're behind? No, I am live, but I'm showing you speakers who may have talked earlier until the show kind of catches up. I wanted to headline this show at this time. We have Byron Donalds coming up at 6, and then Glenn Beck as well. So what I wanted to do was, instead of having people here for 6 hours, I'm pretty sure people want to see Byron Donalds and Glenn Beck, and I know you want to see Kari Lake. So I've got one more segment with Charlie Kirk and Cenk Uyghur, and then Kari Lake is after that, and then we will be rolling right into the 6 o'clock. It looks like, I'm looking at their timing, Byron Donalds is supposed to take the stage at about 6:10, 6:15 Eastern, and then we'll segue right into the live show. So if you've seen the Cenk and Charlie section, that's what I'm about to show. And then after Charlie and Cenk, we're going to roll into Kari Lake. So let me get back to the show so we can keep everything on time. Let's just keep going.
Next guest is really interesting, everybody. And I want you all, throughout this process, even if something you hear that you don't like, that you might not agree with, is we are not going to act like the left or people on campuses. We're going to allow agreement and disagreement. I have, let's just say, debated and dialogued with this guy for quite a while, and I've been really struck by his commentary since the election, because he's one of the few people honest enough on the left to talk about how the Democrat Party has really lost its course and how we actually have more that we might agree on than we disagree on in this kind of new populist moment. So I want us to give the warmest AmericaFest Turning Point USA welcome to Cenk Uyghur.
I've been a populist all along, and what's fascinating to me is how much politics in America has changed.
The establishment has been oppressing all of us for so long and gaslighting us in a way that is unbearable.
Anyone who disagrees with them, they think, is not objective and is to be dismissed and derided. They have no idea how clueless they are. You've got to challenge people, and the point of media is to challenge the powerful.
If you guys don't know who Cenk is, he's like the lead guy at the Young Turks, which used to be a huge liberal show, blog, whatever you want to say. But he's getting kind of disillusioned with what's going on with the left. And so he's being truthful. And he and Anna, who's on his show, have been getting excoriated. So take a listen.
Thank you for that warm welcome. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
So Cenk, the spirit of inviting you is that there's some confusion of these divides of right versus left, populist versus corporatist. I guess a good opening would be, as a man in the progressive movement, as one of the leaders of the progressive movement, what do you make of this last year, the state of the Democrat Party, and kind of American politics from the more progressive left perspective?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm proud to represent the left flank of the populist movement, and I think we need both flanks, so I'm happy to have this conversation. In terms of what has gone wrong in the Democratic Party, it's the same thing that went wrong in the Republican Party, but I do have to give you guys credit for a revolution well done. And what I mean by that is not a revolution against the Democratic Party or the left or the country, but a revolution against the establishment. So I knew you guys were for real in fighting against the establishment when I started going on right-wing shows and I would say something negative about Mitch McConnell. And when I did that in the past, what I would get back is, oh, no, Mitch McConnell's great. Pelosi's terrible, but Mitch McConnell's great.
Let's do that here. What do you guys think of Mitch McConnell?
All right. Yes, I love that. So look, for my left-wing friends that are watching out there, they just booed Mitch McConnell. That's a great thing, okay? And let's do one more. What do you guys think about Dick Cheney? My left-wing friends out there, we have been waiting for the right-wing populists to boo Mitch McConnell and Dick Cheney our whole lives. Take the win. Take the win. Now, what we need to do in the Democratic Party is we need to do likewise. We need to have a revolt against the Joe Bidens, the Kamala Harrises, and the Nancy Pelosi's. And the Hillary Clintons, and now all of a sudden the Dick Cheneys. What are they doing on our side? Are you guys nuts? Right?
I have to interject. When all of a sudden Kamala Harris is doing the Liz Cheney thing, I said, does she want to lose? I mean,
what's amazing is I said the same thing. Look, Dick Cheney polls at 13%. What lunatic thought it was a good idea to wrap yourself around Dick Cheney? I mean, when we started the Young Turks 22 years ago, longest running show in internet history, first ever YouTube partner with original YouTubers, one of the driving forces was get Dick Cheney out of office, right? And now for Kamala Harris to come full circle and say, oh, I've got 90 corporate CEOs backing me, and I've got all these executives on my side, and I've got Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney on my side, was so counterproductive. It's not what the left wing stands for. It's not what the Democratic Party should be about. So the problem is the establishment. They are controlled by the donor class, and mainstream media is their marketing arm. They do not do news. They do propaganda. And one more thing. What I want you guys to recognize is that mainstream media, you think is against you. You think they're against the right wing. But they also hate Bernie Sanders. And they also hate me. And they also hate the populists on the left. What mainstream media really loves is the establishment and the elites. They're against all of us combined. And if we dare unite on issues we agree on, they will be livid, and it'll be a beautiful day in America.
And that is correct. I mean, you were kicked off of some of the cable news channels for having heterodox opinions on certain issues. So let's kind of look at the last couple of years. We can go back to the Bernie Sanders thing. Explain to us, why is it that right-wing revolution was successful, and the Bernie Sanders with 2 attempts actually won the primary in 2016, and he had it stolen. Again, stolen election talk can be a little controversial. They stole it from Bernie Sanders in 2016. Why was that revolution not successful?
Yeah, I think it was because Donald Trump was a celebrity and they didn't take him seriously. So they made the mistake of giving him mainstream media coverage. And so they thought, and if you remember, Bill Clinton had this brilliant idea, we'll encourage Donald Trump to run on the Republican side and it'll destroy the Republican Party. How'd that work out for you, Bill? And so I remember saying at the time, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Because what I sensed was you need a non-politician to lead the revolt. So, because all the politicians, and right now they're having a conversation on the Democratic side about 2028, and the only people they mention are politicians. And my answer to that is hell no. Okay? Because the politicians are used to the corruption. They grew up in the corruption. They like the corruption. They got their power through the corruption. So I don't want that. I don't need that. And so when Trump came on, they gave him coverage. And here's when look, some people think that things changed after the election. No, I've been saying this from day one. And so back in 2016, actually 2015, after I think it was the second debate, when Trump was on stage and he said, I gave all these guys money and they did exactly what I wanted. At that point, everyone on earth, certainly in establishment and mainstream media, says he has no chance of winning, none. I went on the Young Turks and I said, he's going to win the Republican primary, okay? Because people hate corruption and they know it in their bones, okay? Now, we will disagree on, is Trump really not corrupt? Is Trump really going to do the things that he promised? Is he really a populist? I would love to prove me wrong. I would love that, okay? And like, my God, if Trump got money out of politics, one thing we're known for is credit where credit is due, okay? I would give him all the credit in the world. We're not there yet. We're not close to there yet. So when we get into the issues, hey, how about, and remember, guys, you also have donors. Beware of the donors. Don't forget that, and don't let your guard down, okay? But so on the Democratic side, we have got to elect a populist. If we don't, we're going to make the same mistake we made when they anointed Hillary Clinton, when they anointed Joe Biden, and when they anointed Kamala Harris. So my Democratic friends, how many times are you going to lose before you realize that mainstream media and the establishment are lying to you?
And so is that energy forefront in the Democrat Party right now? And I'm not saying this facetiously. Read us into what the power brokers of the Democrat Party are saying. Are they saying we need to run more to the middle, that we need to embrace more populism? We're hearing some of the names, but what is the vibe of the people that do this for a living?
Yeah, so I can tell you definitively that the Democratic leadership and the Democratic establishment will never voluntarily go in a new direction. They will never voluntarily accept populism. They are built on donor money. They are of the donors, by the donors, for the donors. So what I need left-wing voters to understand is that they're never going to give you what you want incrementally. Martin Luther King talked about the tranquilizing drug of gradualism. Oh, if we just go a little further with Joe Biden, he'll give us another crumble and another tiny increment. No, they're going to just pick a new and improved corporate robot like Pete Buttigieg or Gavin Newsom, and they're going to come out with a new script, and they're going to say, I am now a populist, and they will wear flannel shirts, and they'll go to barbecues, and they'll pretend to eat ribs, and then they'll sneak out and go to French Laundry, right? So don't believe the corporate robots. Remember how many times they lied to you. We need to do a populist revolt and pick a populist left-winger so we could have a real contest in this country. The establishment Democrats are never going to win. We need to go populist, and the way to do that is not by negotiating with them. It's by defeating them in a primary.
Is the Democrat grassroots, are they invigorated towards that end? Because it seemed as if they weren't obviously thrilled about Biden or Kamala Harris. But you could say whatever you want about Bernie Sanders. I have massive worldview disagreements. He had a legitimate grassroots movement behind him of small dollar donors, of people that were working, of activists. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like that has disappeared a little bit in recent years, or at least has gone to sleep. Am I correct in that? And what would it take to awaken that sleeping giant?
So there's a couple of different branches within the Democratic Party and the left, but the two most important ones are the populist progressive left, that's Bernie Sanders, and we could debate about progressive issues and policies on another day, right? But but then there's the establishment wing. So the populist wing is already there. That base that was there in 2016 and 2020 still exists. And remember, guys, and I say this to you and I say it to the left wing, Bernie won the first 3 states in 2020. He was this close to winning until Obama and Clyburn called in all the candidates.
He's right.
And said, you all have to bow to Joe Biden. And then mainstream media then said, Joe Biden is the greatest. And they started talking about how Bernie Sanders, the most successful Jewish candidate in American history, had followers who were brown shirts and fascists and Nazis. Where have you heard that before? So whenever it's an outsider, all of a sudden mainstream media says fascist, even if it's a Jewish candidate, right? So they use the same tricks. And you guys have been canceled. I've been canceled. They do the same thing to both of us over and over again. So the left-wing populists are ready, but we do need some more votes from people who used to be in the establishment Democratic camp. And why were they in that camp? Because they love corruption, they love war, they love change. No, guys. They were in that camp because mainstream media lied to them. And mainstream media told them, oh, Bernie can't win. Bernie was up by 12 points on Election Day in 2016. They said, he's radical. And they called you guys radical and said you couldn't win. They call us radical and say we can't win. But they're wrong. They're lying. So what I need Democrats to understand is stop believing in Morning Joe and The View and all the garbage on TV.
So that's a really good point about the media ecosystem. You guys are, without a doubt, the most popular, progressive, over-the-top, non-mainstream media sanctioned community. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, 27 million subscribers, 30 billion views. I think it's fair to say.
No, I'm not saying that sarcastically. I don't know of anyone that comes close. However, do you think there's a robust alternative media ecosystem on the left that is comparable to what's built on the right? I could say confidently what we have on the right is pretty impressive. We have from podcasting to videos. We don't rely on cable television. Who here listens to podcasts or social media for all your news? Raise your hand. I mean, every single hand goes up. So do you think the left has some work to do in developing over-the-top media to be able to bypass the main networks?
Yeah, so we have TYT as a giant network, but we have a lot of great progressive and populist shows that are not part of TYT that's in the left-wing ecosystem. So I don't think that that's the issue. I don't think that there isn't enough shows. I think that there's a couple others. One, on the right, you guys do a great job of coalescing, okay? So you do a couple of things well. You work together well, and you're more welcoming, if I'm being honest.
We're glad Cenk's here, right, everybody?
And a lot of people on the left know this as well. If you agree with MAGA 5%, the answer you get is welcome, right? Come join us, right? On the left, if you disagree 5%, they go, get out of here, you're a right-winger, you're a fascist, right? But if you push enough people out and you guys welcome enough people in, eventually you win the popular vote. That's what I warned them about, and that's what happened, right? So, look, I propose simple rules, the 3 rules of the internet. Rule number 1, when we disagree, we fight. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Now, rule number 2 is afterwards we must have a beer together, okay? And rule number 3 is, for God's sake, when we agree, let's unite. So, for the left, we have too much division. We almost never unify. I don't mean with the right. I mean internally. The left loves to attack one another. I love you guys on the left. I love you. But every once in a while, when we get a yes, when we agree, can we please unite? And the second thing we need is for the old, I'm being honest, and on average, not everyone, of course, but for the older Democratic voters, please turn off your television sets. They're lying to you. They're tricking you. They're trying to get you to vote for corruption. They're trying to get you to vote for policies you don't even want. So if we can do those 2 things, then we'll be in great shape.
So I'm not sure how you'll feel about this, but there is a not a consensus. There is a belief with some people like Seth Moulton and others that some of the embrace of what we would call wokeism or whatever was a reason why Democrats had a less than desirable election outcome. Do you subscribe to that belief? how do you interpret that when some people say we need to kind of shed away some of the more new elements of the cultural implications of politics outside of economics, like the Seth Moulton belief that where he says the trans stuff hurt us?
Yeah, so look, guys, on that stuff, I've been having these debates internally with the left wing. And I explained yesterday, actually, on the Young Turks. Look, everybody's positions are in a different part of the left-right spectrum and on different policies. So I can name you policies where you say, oh, that's pretty moderate, right? I can name you policies that, I mean, you're not sure is left or right-wing, but that is definitely populist, right? But some of my policies might be called extreme left in America. So, for example, I'm massively in favor of gun control. You told them not to boo, but I knew they'd boo on that one.
They paused to their respect. You were asking for it, Chen.
Yeah, I did ask for it. So my point to my left wing allies is, am I going to emphasize and insist and demand on my gun control policies when we're in the middle of a national election? No. Because I know those are not winning issues at this point. I've got more work to do to convince the American people before we get there. So if on trans issues or any other, or crime issues, etc., if you really believe in the most, far left positions, as I do on gun control, for example, that's okay. But you've got to know what to emphasize and what not to emphasize. And so if you say, no, I'm going to die on every extreme hill, well, you will. Electorally, politically, you will die on that hill. And then you lose on all of your issues, because it's sometimes a binary game. Certainly elections are. So you got to know what to convince the American people of and what to hold your ground on. And the number one thing to hold your ground on is constitutional rights. So I'm going to do some...
Like the Second Amendment.
So, no, I know. So guys, look at that. We totally disagree on that issue, but we just...
You were asking for that one, I'm sorry.
No problem. No, but that was an important moment, because we totally disagree on that issue, but we just shook hands anyway. And you know what we'll do afterwards? We'll have a beer! So, you know what it is when you disagree on something and then you fight about it and then you have a beer afterwards? That's called America. So let me see if I can get agreement, and I don't know which way this is going to go, okay? So when we talk about trans issues in terms of sports, I know we have massive disagreements, okay? And on one of those issues, professional sports, I agree with you guys. On high school sports, I don't. We'll go get into a bloody battle on that, okay? But I want to ask you guys something. Do you believe that trans Americans should have the same constitutional rights as all Americans to employment, health care, and housing? Constitutional rights.
Do you want me to translate? Well, there is no constitutional right to housing.
Okay, so I hear you. What I got out of that, guys...
I'm just trying to be the interpreter.
Yeah. No, there was a lot of applause and there was some consternation, right? I'll take it. It's a start. So, guys, when we can even disagree about what's constitutional, Second Amendment, housing, etc. But just let's treat everyone as Americans. And I say that to the right and I say it to the left.
For sure. So we're going to go a little overtime because I know the boss here. And there's two things. I want to ask about free speech, and then I want to try to say, can we get one or two action items that this community can get behind in this new Congress and this presidency that are populist that maybe we can push for and advocate for? I want to try to maybe see if we could brainstorm that together. Number one, first on free speech. Do you think that the left, and you are an exception, is ready to embrace a robust, spirited culture of freedom of speech where disagreement is welcome, where you're able to have these kind of dialogues and forums? And I think it's a tragedy. It seems to be that more the right is willing to do it. Prove me wrong if that really is the case.
Yeah, I'm trying to remind the left of who we are. because the left is supposed to be for freedom of speech. The left needs freedom. If you're gay or you're trans or you're Muslim or you're someone that was otherized at some point in your life, you need freedom more than anyone else does. You need equality more than anyone else does. You need justice more than anyone else does. So if you want those things, you've got to reciprocate. So you've got to not, I want you guys to not assume that we hate you or that we're evil or that we're bad. But if we're going to do that, the left wing has to do the same. They have to assume that you're not evil, that you don't hate them, and you're not all of these things. So I know from time to time we'll still get back into the battles and we'll still call each other names, right? But overall, if we can begin to not hate each other, and so when we disagree, let's try two more real quick here. When we disagree, can we agree to not hate each other? All right, excellent. And when we have these fights, to Charlie's point, can we, for the first time in my lifetime, begin to actually listen to one another? And Charlie, I'll give you credit on this, because one of the turning points, if you will, in how I started to view the right wing is when you came on the Young Turks at the RNC, and, you know, we started talking about banning private equity from buying residential real estate.
Which I totally agree with. That the young people in this audience should not have to compete against BlackRock to be able to own a home. Do you guys agree?
So we've got a populist plank on tyt.com that's one of the 6 pillars, right? And all my life, I go on Republican shows, I go on right-wing shows. When I say something against the bankers, they're like, no, the bankers are great, the bankers are great. Oh, I was so frustrated. And now, all of a sudden, we got the right-wing populists saying, let's ban the bankers from buying our homes so they don't drive up the prices. Yes! The left, take yes for an answer. Take yes for an answer. And look, what I said online on X was, at least what we got out of this election is we're no longer in an establishment prison. Now we're in the populist woods, right? And if you say, yeah, but we're going to fight in the populist woods, yes, but at least we're all human out here. We defeated the corporate robots, and we've got more fights with the corporate robots to come. But out here in the woods, when I see you guys, I don't hate you anymore, right? I see my fellow Americans.
Bingo.
And so in these populist woods, we'll sometimes have skirmishes, sometimes we'll have battles. But the main thing I'm trying to drive with the 6 points of the populist plank, higher wages for Americans, time off for moms after they have a baby, anti-corruption,
totally agree with
anti-war. The reason
audit the Pentagon.
Oh, yes. So the reason I pick those is not because they're the most left-wing positions, because those are the positions we all agree on, right? And God help the establishment if we actually work together to do those things. And finally, to the heart of your question, Charlie, you know, I proposed on X, cut the Pentagon, make sure the generals cannot work for the military-industrial complex afterwards, and free Edward Snowden.
I agree.
So it's beautiful that we have populist agreement on the right and the left on those issues. So I'm asking you guys, let's make those a reality, because right now, a lot of my friends on the left don't believe you. They think, no, they can't possibly be telling the truth, right? No way they're going to cut the Pentagon. No way they're going to have a conflict of interest rule for the generals. No way they're going to do any of this, right? Prove them wrong. Prove them that you are actual populists, that you do mean it, and that we can work together to get those things done.
Cenk, thank you so much. Guys, that was great. Thank you.
So I gotta ask you, because I'm watching these comments and people are freaking out. So I want you to just understand this. Charlie Kirk is not stupid. He has spent a lot of time and a lot of money. He built up a good company, a good organization. And as you know, Donald Trump is speaking at this event. Why do you think Donald Trump is speaking at this event, knowing that Senk was just on here with Charlie? Why would Charlie bring him out there? And what I'm going to tell you right now, don't unsubscribe, because you're going to need somebody like me talking to you, because I'm just not going to be a ongoing cheerleader, everything you want to hear. Sometimes you got to have some, vegetables with dinner. So let's get some vegetables real quick here. Remember, this event is for young people. You're looking in from wherever you are, and you're watching an event for young people. College kids. There's a lot of college kids on these campuses who every single day have to interact with people who are bonkers. You know this. You may forget. But what I want to do is take you back to 2 days ago. And I think if you haven't seen Ben Carson's speech, maybe go back and look at my other video and listen to what Ben Carson said. The guy was so eloquent, he speaks soft, maybe you missed the message. He talked about twins that were joined at the head and how he tried to separate them so that they could live on their own. And a couple times he tried it and they died. They couldn't live on their own. You see, they were symbiotic. One had the brain, the other one had the heart. You couldn't do it because they were symbiotic. And then he was able to separate one pair of twins, and they lived. Because they were able, and he said something like it took them 20 hours of surgery to move blood cells over from one to the other, so that each one of them had a part of the other, and they were able to have that symbiotic relationship and live separately. I'm going to be the first one to tell you, if you aren't realizing it right now, but if you don't reach across the aisle and be prepared to reach across the aisle, you are not going to like, and maybe not even be MAGA within the next 4 years. You just saw a campaign that Trump ran. And let me be the first to tell you, in case you're not realizing it, Tulsi Gabbard, Democrat. RFK Jr., Democrat. He showed you what he's trying to do. He's trying to help with the symbiotic nature, because bottom line is we're all Americans. We're not going to survive living on two islands. It's just not going to happen. This country will not make it until that symbiotic nature of things comes together. There was a reason why I played this myself. Do you remember how all that came together? Because they pushed him away, but all of a sudden, a lot of RFK Jr.'s voters came to Trump. How could that be? How could these Democrat voters come to Trump? Because there was some symbiotic stuff there. And Trump understands, if this nation is going to heal and come together, there has to be a symbiotic relationship. Do you remember the Q&A when he was with Kristen Welker of MSNBC? See, I put all this in my head, and I remember it. I just don't make videos and just tell you stuff. I remember it. He said to a question, she said, what do you say to all the people who didn't vote for you? You guys remember that? And his answer was, you're going to get the same benefits. I'm not doing this to benefit people on the right. I'm doing this to benefit Americans. If your taxes go down, guess what? You get it. If the gas prices go down, guess what? You get the benefit. He didn't say, you know what, I'm only going to lower taxes for people on the right. They're only the people on the right are going to get no taxes on tips. Only the people on the right are going to get no taxes on overtime. He just recently stated he wants to eliminate estate taxes. He didn't say I'm only going to eliminate estate taxes for people on the right. The best way to heal this country and to move forward successfully is for people on the left to realize, wow, he doesn't have 3 eyes and 4 ears and a forked tongue, and he's actually helping my life? You mean these MAGA people aren't maggots? They're actually regular people? You mean I've been lied to this much by the media? Yes. And so unless you are prepared to basically go in a cocoon for the next 4 years, you're going to see a lot of this reaching across the aisle. How do you think Trump got elected? A tremendous amount of black people who were Democrats voted for Trump. A tremendous amount of Hispanics who were Democrats voted for Trump. And I saw some of you guys in what you said here, and you said, I don't trust him. Who's asking you to trust him? Nobody's asking you to trust anybody. I mean, there are people that drive up and down our street. I don't know them. I don't trust them. But if their car caught on fire, I'd go out and help them. You see, going to church is very easy when everybody in the church thinks the way that you do. And it's easy to put money in the till and say, hey, go donate to some of those people in prison and stuff. But it's a whole different thing when you get off your duff and go to the prison and talk to the guy in prison and go, hey, man, you shouldn't have done that. Let's sit down and pray. Let's talk this out. Because nobody else is doing that for them. The Democrats aren't doing it for them. So there's no conversion that's happening. I don't know how many people walked into a church the very first time when, yeah, this is me, baptize me. No, you go a couple times and like, oh, these people aren't crazy. These people really want to just talk to me. And then it happens. I understand what we've been through for the last number of years. You can't even think, many of you can't even think to yourselves and say, how can we possibly reach across the aisle? That's what you're commanded to do. And as I sat here and watched all the things in the comment, it just amazed me how closed everybody was. And I want you to realize right now, and I hope you don't unsubscribe because I enjoy you and I enjoy talking to you, but I want to give you a perspective. If we don't come together with people we don't like, we're going to be in the same position 4 years from now. You, right now, over the last 24 and 48 hours, saw what coalescence can do. I'm not talking about Joy Reid or the nuts on CNN, but when I have been telling you, hey, listen, I don't care how many followers you have, start hitting it. Even though you don't know how many people have seen it, a lot of people say, wow, man, oh, wow, this isn't bad. This isn't bad. Why are we sending money to Ukraine? I'm not benefiting from that. So keep talking. Reach out. If somebody bites your hand, pull it back. Wait a while. Start talking again. We're not going to grow as a country, and we will not survive as a country if we don't have that symbiotic relationship with others. There is no chance. None. The Civil War ain't gonna make it. So yeah, I have ideas. I abhor baby removal. But like Sank said, I've also sat next to people who've had them, who still want to see other people have them, but we can talk. We've lost the ability to have conversation. At this point, wearing the MAGA shirt was like, oh my God, you guys people stink. And now I can actually wear my MAGA stuff, put on a sweatshirt, go out, and people give me the nod. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Go to the gas station. Hey, how you doing? And I don't know them, I don't trust them, but I can talk to them. See, the best way to lose somebody is to attack somebody. Hey man, why are you wearing that shirt? F you! Oh, they're right, you guys are nuts. Oh man, I F you too. What are you going to say? You think that's going to work? You think that's going to work moving forward? We're this close. We were on the precipice of losing this country. And now you're saying to the people who just got butt stomped, who know now they've been misled, who know now that Joe was and everybody was covering up. What do you think right now some of these people were thinking? You all lied to me? This man was bonkers? He didn't know how to even make his oatmeal? Nope, didn't know what he was doing. The entirety of the Democrat Party was in on it? Yup. You don't think those people right now are going, giving them some serious side eye? Not all of them. Nope, not all of them. Some of them like, yeah, do whatever you need to do to beat MAGA. But I'm telling you, as you just saw in the last vote, the people who you are shunning like Senk got Trump elected. Never forget that. Without the blacks, without the Hispanics, without a bunch of gays, Trump doesn't get elected. And I know because I'm down here in South Florida and we have a huge gay diaspora. A huge amount of gays. And you know what? A lot of them voted for Trump. I don't like that lifestyle. But there's something Trump said that brought us together. Because why would they have voted for him? See, look for the good in people instead of hating on the bad. All right, so that being said, they're still behind, so I'm going to go to something. Were the people with the wrong, I forgive, but I don't. No one's see, again, I'm not looking for absolution. You don't have to trust anybody. You don't have to forget. In fact, make sure you remember. But that doesn't preclude you from being a good American. At this point, we are MAGA. I'm right there in with you. I've been doing this. I am MAGA, no doubt. But I am now on my own, reaching out, saying hi to people I ordinarily wouldn't say hi to. But, you know, to each his own. And if you think you can help survive this country living in a cocoon, and if you want to unsubscribe because Barry's not just ignoring the left and everything else, then I'm telling you right now, you are going to be in for a long 4 years. Because the stuff Trump is going to be doing, he is going to be reaching out continually to people on the left. And all you have to do is look at Nicole Shanahan, RFK Jr., and Tulsi Gabbard for proof. You can look away from it, but then you're not being truthful and honest. There's 3 Democrats right there. 2 of them are going to be in his cabinet. 2 Democrats. How could that possibly be? You think that all of a sudden RFK Jr., all of his ideology, he switched? Or did he say, hey, the best way of moving forward with my agenda of trying to get Americans healthy is to align myself with this guy? You think Joe Rogan? You've heard the stories. Oh, we don't have a Joe Rogan on our side. You did. You pushed him aside. There's a lot of people who aren't Joe Rogan who've been pushed aside. There are a lot of people like RFK Jr. who've been pushed aside, and they're looking for people like you to say, hey man, you had it wrong. Let me help you out here. I would never want to be so staid in my perspective of things to turn people away when I have the chance to show them what's going on. There was a time in my life when I played football and my wife will tell you, I was in a bar in college. She's heard the story. And a guy walked into the bathroom at the same time I was doing my thing. And I look over and he's got a pink shirt on. And I wailed on him. For no reason. I just beat the heck out of this guy because he had a freaking pink shirt on. And he wasn't gay. I was like, oh man, what did I do? Am I this bad? Yeah, you're that bad, man. You're that kind of guy. Like, oh, I need to change that. I can't be that guy anymore. Don't be that guy. Don't be that gal. Understand, it's a big country. We're going to have to keep our guard up. I'm not asking you to forget. I'm not asking you to forgive. Well, somebody else is asking you to forgive. That ain't me. You can do that tomorrow. And I'm going to ask you to trust. I'm just asking you to talk, converse, see where people's heads are. Let them know. If you saw someone who needed the Lord, you'd talk, wouldn't you? I mean, we all done that. Hey, listen, your life looks like it's messed up, and I can show you how you might be able to fix that. We're all compelled. We are commanded to do that, right? Well, can't we do it with other Americans? Barry has changed a lot. Yeah, man, I was bad. They had this thing when I was in college, and they tried to make you feel bad, and they said, wear jeans on Friday if you're gay. And I remember people would like freak out and like, where are my khakis? People couldn't even wear their jeans because they were afraid of people seeing you with jeans and assuming you were what they were trying to do. Then I realized, oh, you're doing a mind game. You're just making us go crazy and reach for khakis out of our closet or sweatpants that day. Don't play the mind games. I don't have anything against gay people. I'm talking about the commie left. I'm not talking about the commies. See, you're here. You're 6 exits down the road. I'm not asking you to go embrace any commies. I'm talking to people who are Americans, who understand and salute the flag, but they're still on the left. The commies, they don't want what's good for America. You know, if I would talk to one, but after about 15 minutes, I'd be like, well, I can't help you. I'm talking about everything in between. The RFK Juniors, the Nicole Shanahans, the Tulsi Gabbards. Many, many, many people who aren't off the reservation, but are still Democrats. I'm not talking about, hugging up on commies. Commies want the worst for you. You realize there are a whole bunch, maybe I'm assuming, you do realize there's a whole lot of Democrats that aren't commies, right? If you don't realize that, maybe you just haven't been to certain areas. Because I could go with my wife up in the hills of Sylvan, North Carolina, and talk to a lot of the relatives up there who are Democrats. They're not commies. They salute the flag, been in the army, living their lives. They're just Democrats. Nice people, great people, love them, absolutely love them. They're just Democrats. They've been Democrats, don't even know why they're Democrats. My sisters were Democrats. Why the hell are y'all still Democrats? Anyway, I don't know. And so I talked to them. My 4 sisters over the last, I'd say 7 years have went, come to the right. They're like, hey, you don't like those taxes, do you? You don't like your money going overseas? Guess what? You're getting closer. You ever play that game when you're a kid? Red light, blue light, whatever it was, and you're burning up. Oh no, you're cold. They get a lot warmer. They come closer to the red, and I just talked to them. So, yeah, Dems or Republicans are Americans. Like my dad used to say, there's only one kind of people: sinners and sinners saved by grace. Oh, that's a great saying. Great saying. A real man looks straight ahead to both the urinal. Oh, wow. I just figured out a student of mine for 7 years as a Dem voted Kamala very sad. But then you have an opportunity to go talk to him. All right, so let's get going because Byron Donalds will be coming up soon. So let's get in Kari Lake, and we can go back to normal right now. Let's listen to Kari Lake.
Hello. Boy, that was quite an entrance. I got to thank Charlie Kirk for that one. That is amazing. Hello, how are you guys doing? How do you like Arizona in the winter? This is great. I want to say to you all, welcome to the golden age in America. It starts right now. Right now. And it starts right now because of you. Think about all of the work you did. I'm looking out, and even though some of you are way far back there, I recognize the faces in this crowd. The people who knocked on doors. The people who went out and handed out campaign flyers for me and other campaigns across the country. The people who put on miles and miles of walking to help President Trump get over the finish line. This is your victory. Thank you for bringing President Trump back into the White House. I love that this is going to be called the Golden Age because it really is. And when you think about it, it started about a decade ago when many of you were maybe 10 years old, maybe in 4th or 5th grade. And now you're going to be reaping the benefits of the Golden Age. But it started when a man with golden hair came down a golden escalator. How many of you remember that? In the summer of 2015. And now it's culminated to what we've been waiting for all of this time. It's culminated into we will no longer see a two-tier justice system anymore in America under the golden era. We will no longer see a weaponized government going after we the people in the golden era. And we will no longer see open borders in the golden era. I think you're all happy about that. And you think about what President Trump has accomplished. He has literally brought down all of the obstructionists. He brought down the fake news media. He revealed what they're all about. He brought down the obstructionists in Washington, D.C. Now, the bad news is we still have a few obstructionists. Have we seen that in the last week or so? And unfortunately, some of them are right here in our own party. And I hate to say that. I wish we could say all of the trouble was over with the Democrats, but we've seen how a few people with R's behind their name are trying to actually hurt we the people as we go into this next era where America First policies are going to be implemented to make our life better once again. And we need to bring down those obstructionists and help President Trump. Are you up for that? I think about what has happened in just the last week, how much has been revealed in the last week in Washington, D.C. Did you guys vote because you want President Trump's America First policies to be brought forth in this country? Is that what you voted for? Did you vote to make America great again? Okay, I thought so. So we need to make sure that those obstructionists, whether they have a D behind their name or an R, are not going to stop we the people, because President Trump is giving we the people back our government, and we're not going to let them stop him, right? I think back to when I was running for governor, and one of the weak people that I ran against was interviewed many, many months after that race. And I'm going to read the quote. He said, "Opposing Kari Lake is a suicide mission. She doesn't run to win, she runs to destroy." And, well, we got to win because they're trying to destroy our country. So we've got to win no matter what. And that means when President Trump is going there to implement his policies, we must destroy any person who is trying to stop those policies from making their way into our lives. Are you up for that? Good. And when I say destroy, I'm not talking about violence. I'm talking about with our strong voice and our vote. We proved that in this election. We made it too big to rig for President Trump. We proved that. We saw it this week when many of you got on the phone and started calling your lawmakers and your congressmen and said, "What the hell is going on? What are you thinking?" We need to use the same energy that we've used for the last couple of years to make sure that in the next 4 years, we make America great again. Okay? I think about how we want to take a little bit of time off, right? It's tempting because we work so hard. How many of you, just a show of hand, knocked doors, got involved, chased ballots? Let me see a show of hands. Keep them up. You guys are heroes. You guys are heroes. And I want to see you take that same energy that you did when you in Arizona went out in 115-degree heat and knocked on 500 doors in one weekend, and I want to take that same energy. That's how we're going to defeat the obstructionists who are going to try to stop President Trump. Because the work is really just starting now. It's just starting now, and while we are here to celebrate this huge victory of President Trump getting into the White House, we have to realize that the work is just beginning, and he can't do it alone. It's going to take him with his muscle, and that's all of you, to make sure that we truly make America great again. I know you're up for it. I used to say this on the campaign trail, and I meant it. I'm so impressed by this young generation of patriots. My kids are in this generation. And I would say to people, you got to get involved, because your generation has the most to win, the most to gain, or the most to lose. If we weren't successful, then your generation would be, as Ronald Reagan said, plunged into 1,000 years of darkness. But because we were successful, we actually have an opportunity to see the golden age, peace and prosperity for the rest of your lives. And so I thank you for all that you've done. This generation impresses the heck out of me. It really does. But we need to make a promise to President Trump right now that the energy that we put in to helping him and fighting for him to get him back in the White House, that will never stop and will never succumb to the left again and their absolute horrible ideology that has put us into the situation we're in right now. Can you make that promise to President Trump that you will get out there and stay involved in his presidency and in this administration, whether it's volunteering, getting involved, or working for the administration? Are you guys up for that? That's awesome. You know, we watched as President Trump has revealed so much to us about the truths about how corrupt Washington, D.C. is. I actually enjoyed his efforts when he was taking down the fake news. I mean, he's the one who first showed us how much lying was happening in the fake news. So much so that I decided I'm getting out of the fake news. And I'm going to be honest, I'm an optimist. I actually had a thought that maybe the fake news would reform themselves after what they've done the past 10 years, lying about President Trump, committing character assassination against President Trump, and frankly, other people who are fighting for our country. I actually thought that with this victory, they might come to their senses and wake up and reform themselves. But I don't think they're going to do that. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because as Elon Musk says, we are the news now. You are the news, not the fake news. And we've had some great people take the stage. People like Charlie Kirk, people like Benny Johnson. We've had some great people who have incredible podcasts, and their podcasts in one day will have more viewership than the entirety of the fake news in one day. That's how powerful this movement is. The fake news has become, the mainstream media has just become obsolete. But I did think of one thing that they're good for. I know, I'm hearing a gasp in the audience. What? Yes, they're good for one thing. They're kind of like a barometer. If you see the fake news attacking someone, what you should do is say, I got to support that person, right? When they attack President Trump, relentlessly lying about him, it only made people want to support him more and more. When they attack great fighters like Eli Crane here in Arizona, that just makes me want to support him more and more. And I've always said, whoever the fake news is the loudest and attacking the most, that's who we need to get behind. So they're good for telling us really who the good guys are. The fake news is good for telling us who the good guys are. So keep that in mind if you do ever find yourself watching them. There's so much history that's going to be made in the next 4 years. Can you even, do you lay awake at night just so excited about what is coming in the next 4 years? I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one. It's funny because I used to lay awake at night, wake up at 3 a.m. and worry about, where this world is going. And while an election didn't immediately take away all the problems, we know that the solutions are coming. And we know that things are going to get better. We know that Tom Homan, who's going to be speaking in the next couple of days, is going to get busy deporting people who come here illegally and freeing up this country so that we, the people, can take our country back. And I'm excited about that. I know you are as well. And we're going to have to watch it because the fake news is going to try to make that look like the worst thing in the world. We will watch as we create millions of homecomings around the globe. We're sending people back to their homeland, and we're going to be freeing up our country for the citizens of this country. But we got to make sure that they don't spin it. They're going to try to spin it, and they're going to try to make it look like the worst thing in the world. I see it as human beings heading back to their homeland. They will go there and make their homeland better, and we will make our homeland better. And so I'm excited for people like Tom Homan. And we're going to have to push back when the fake news tries to take everything President Trump is going to try to do to make our country great, and they're going to try to spin it in the opposite way. That's when we have to stand up and be that voice and be the media and get out on social media and push back against that narrative. Because that narrative is a false narrative. We know the truth. That truth is President Trump will make America great again. So as I get ready to wrap this up, and I guess I'm going to do questions. I've never done questions at a Turning Point event. This could be dangerous. I want to let you know that I'm looking forward to going and joining the President Trump in D.C. and the Trump administration. I'm honored. Isn't it crazy how they're already trying to bring down everybody President Trump is appointing? Did they do this with Joe Biden? When he had a cross-dressing kleptomaniac who stole luggage at the airport in charge of our nuclear waste, I didn't hear any complaining, really, from Congress and from Washington, D.C. and the media. I didn't hear any complaining, but now when he's putting out true patriots who want to help make America great, the media is going berserk. And that tells you that he's really putting out some great fighters who are not in it for themselves, they're in it for America. So I'm looking forward to it. Because where I am going, we're going to make sure that the American story is told in an accurate and fair manner. We're going to get back to real journalism, describing what's happening as we make history for the next 4 years in the President Trump administration. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to joining you and this incredible young generation that I admire so much in making America great again with President Trump. So I thank you so much. And let's do some questions, guys. Any questions out there? Right here. Are you the first one, Heather? Can we get a microphone for her? Anybody? Or are I'm sorry. I didn't follow the first rule, which is the questions are back there. Come on. Do you want to have her ask a question while we wait for Heather?
Okay, I want to say my name is Judy Cervantes. I'm here because of my nieces and my nephew. But we want to ask you, are you running for governor again?
Oh my gosh. You know what, guys? I am going to go help President Trump in Washington, D.C. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to help President Trump. That's where I want to do as much as I can to make sure that we get this country turned around. So thank you for the question, Heather.
All right. So, one thing I love about you, Kari, is, so many people run for office, but you ran beyond Election Day and you fought in the courts when they stole the election from you. And I believe they did it twice. So my question is what do we have to do to restore election integrity in Arizona? Because if election integrity is a state issue, how can the Trump administration, now that we have the federal government, impact election integrity on a state level?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, we're not where we need to be on elections. And that's one of the reasons I don't want to run again, to be honest. Why put yourself through that torture again? We know the movement that we have in Arizona. If you live in Arizona, you get what's going on, and we're not there yet. Thankfully, President Trump's victory, it was too big to rig. It was too big to rig. I have not given up on election integrity. I want you all to know that. I haven't. But it's really, really hard to fight for election integrity when you've got corruption that is so deep as it is in Arizona. We know that our elections have not been run properly, and there's massive corruption there, and there's massive corruption in the court system. And and nobody can say I did not work hard to push for big changes in elections. What I think we need to do is make sure that we don't stop. And we keep telling our local and our state lawmakers this is priority number one. And we don't want just some fake election integrity. We want real election reform. We got to stay on these Arizona lawmakers to get real election reform. And then I'm counting on President Trump to live up to his promise to get to the bottom of election fraud, and I believe he will. And I'm counting on, actually, the federal government, when it comes to federal races, demanding accountability, transparency, and something closer to election day, paper ballots, no machines. Right? Especially when it comes to federal races, so they can call the shots on federal races, and then we'll make sure that those federal races are run well. And hopefully, when there's a federal candidate on the ballot, that means everybody will benefit from those kind of reforms. We got a cowboy over here. Hello.
Hi, Ms. Kari Lake. I met you back at AMFEST 2021, and you actually approached me. And so I wanted to say I love your character. You love to. I remember. Were you running for governor back then, or when did you start running?
That must have been way back on my very first Turning Point event.
Yes.
I remember it was during COVID, so they had to have just a few people in the room, right? And you must have been like this big.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think I had announced that I was running for governor. I was mulling it over at the time.
Yes, I remember.
I'm so glad
that.
to see that you are a patriot and involved, and thank you. I mean, really, this generation, I am so impressed with this young generation.
I actually do have your signature on this hat as well from all the way back then.
I missed what you just said.
I have your signature on my hat from all the way back then, too.
Oh, my gosh. I love it.
But I just wanted to say, at what age did you feel God's calling to do what you are doing now? Like, what age, like, way back when did you feel that?
To get into politics?
Just becoming a leader.
Oh, well, I've always felt God's calling, that God had made me to be special, just like he made each and every one of us to be special. But it was really during COVID that I had a huge wake-up call, and I realized we have to do more. We can't sit silent. As painful as it is to be canceled and have the media attack you, and to, just what we've all been going through since then, if we don't stand up and step into that thing that we're afraid of, whether it was getting called out, being canceled, running for office, if we don't stand out and step into our fear, we'll never overcome our fear, and we'll never save our country. So I think for a lot of people, COVID was a big wake-up call. That's when I felt God urging me and pushing me into a different direction in my life. And it has not been easy, but I would not change a thing. And if I'm out of time now, but if the powers that be, the corrupt powers that be, think that I'm going away, I'm going to disappear because of the hijinks they've been up to, I'm never going away. I'm never going away. We're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep fighting for America. We're going to keep fighting for Arizona. We're going to keep fighting for this young generation. And together we're going to save America and save the world. God bless you, Turning Point. Thank you, Charlie and Tyler. And I love all of you very much. Thank you so much.
All right, so it looks like Byron Donalds will be up in about, looks like about 10, 15 minutes. So let me bring you up to date on some of the stuff that's been going on with Donald Trump. It's Sunday, and the boss is, Saturday, and the boss is definitely at work. So let's look at what he has been posting. Most recently, the Panama Canal is considered a vital national asset for the United States due to its critical role to America's economy and national security. A secure Panama Canal is crucial for United States commerce and rapid deployment of the Navy from the Atlantic to the Pacific, and drastically cuts shipping times to U.S. ports. The United States is the number one user of the canal, with over 70% of all transits 70% of all transits heading to or from U.S. ports. Considered one of the wonders of the modern world, the Panama Canal opened for business 110 years ago and was built at a huge cost to the United States in lives and treasure. I didn't know this. 38,000 American men died from infected mosquitoes in the jungle during construction. Wow, did not know that at all. Teddy Roosevelt was president of the United States at the time of its building and understood the strength of naval power and trade when President Carter foolishly gave it away for $1 during his term in office. Yes, Jimmy Carter gave away the Panama Canal for $1. Is Navy and corporations doing business within our country, exorbitant prices and rates of passage? Our Navy and commerce have been treated in a very unfair and injudicious way. The fees are being charged by Panama. They're ridiculous, especially knowing the extraordinary generosity that has been bestowed to Panama by the United States. This complete ripoff of our country will immediately stop. Oh boy, here we go. The United States has a vested interest in the secure, efficient, and reliable operation of the Panama Canal, and that was always understood. We would and will never let it fall into the wrong hands. It was not given for the benefit of others, but merely as a token of cooperation with us in Panama. If the principles, both moral and legal, of this magnanimous gesture of giving are not followed, then we will demand that the Panama Canal be returned to us in full and without question. Whoa. To the officials of Panama, please be guided accordingly. OMG. Trump just threw down the gauntlet in regards to the Panama Canal. I don't know what that would take to wrestle control of the Panama Canal away from Panama, but looks like he's had enough there. You guys basically milking us for money. We gave this thing to you, and you're just charging us out to wazoo and all our ships. And so he's going to take it back, which is going to cause more minds to explode at this point. You got to believe that the Panama Canal has also been another cash cow for the Democrats. What are they doing behind the scenes in terms of kickbacks and everything else? So they're going to freak out about this. Just letting you know, they're going to freak out about this. All right, let's continue with some stuff, other stuff he did. I am pleased to announce that Tillman Fertitta has been nominated to serve as the ambassador to Italy. Tillman is an accomplished businessman who has founded and built one of our country's premier entertainment and real estate companies, employing approximately 50,000 Americans. Tillman has a long history of giving back to the community through numerous philanthropic initiatives, which include children's charities, law enforcement, and the medical community. Additionally, Tillman is the longest-serving chairman of the Board of Regents for the University of Houston. He also owns the Houston Rockets basketball team. Congratulations to Tillman and his remarkable family. I wonder if he's going to have to divest of the basketball team. Next we have, this is interesting. It is my great honor to appoint Mark Burnett as a special envoy to the United Kingdom. With a distinguished career in television, production, and business, Mark brings a unique blend of diplomatic acumen and international recognition to this important role. Mark is known for creating and producing some of the biggest shows in television history, including Survivor, Shark Tank, The Voice, and most notably, The Apprentice. He is the former chairman of MGM and has won 13 Emmy Awards. Mark will continue to enhance diplomatic relations, focusing on areas of mutual interest, including trade, investment opportunities, and cultural changes. Congratulations, Mark. So, Mark will be the special envoy to the United Kingdom. Wow. Next we have I'm hearing that's just somebody running for office. And then I am proud to announce that highly respected David Fink, a fifth-generation railroader, will be the next administration of the Federal Railroad Administration. David will bring his 45 years of transportation leadership and success, which will deliver the FRA into a new era of safety and technological innovation. Under David's guidance, the Federal Railroad Administration will be great again. We got two more. I'm pleased to nominate Aaron Reitz to serve as the next head of the Justice Department's Office of Legal Policy. Aaron will lead OLP to develop and implement DOJ's battle plans to advance my law and order agenda and to restore integrity to our justice system. He will be working with Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi. Aaron is currently Senator Ted Cruz's Chief of Staff and was previously Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's deputy, where he led dozens of successful lawsuits against the lawless and crooked Biden administration. Interesting. So he's bringing on an attorney who's got experience suing the government. Aaron is a true MAGA attorney, a warrior for our Constitution, and will do an outstanding job at DOJ. Congratulations, Aaron. And one more, I'm pleased to announce that Chad Mizell will serve as the Chief of Staff at the Department of Justice, where he will work with our wonderful Attorney General nominee, Pam Bondi. During my first term, Chad was General Counsel and Chief of Staff at the Department of Homeland Security, where he helped to secure our border and stop the flow of illegal drugs and aliens into our country. Chad is a MAGA warrior who will help bring accountability, integrity, and justice back to the DOJ. Congratulations to Chad, his wife Catherine, great judge who I appointed, and their children. So he's been busy today, quite busy appointing some people. And I'm thinking the biggest announcement that you just saw was his throwdown, his gauntlet throwdown about the Panama Canal, which, man, that is literally going to cause people to panic big time, which means he's got some information about the Panama Canal. So we are just about ready for Byron Donalds. I'm thinking he is up next. Let me just make sure. I'm checking the itinerary, and I think, pretty sure Byron is next. When they come on, we will cut to it. And yep, he is next. And here comes, and this, when I cut to Byron, this will be live, people. We are at the live portion of the program coming up right now. They're still doing introductions. Yeah, that Panama Canal announcement is absolutely huge. Trump will negotiate Panama to the U.S. where we stop doing business, or they charge us a lot less. Well, if you're still here and you got through the Cenk Uyghur part of the show with Charlie Kirk, thank you for sticking around and not realizing I got to show Byron Donalds. He's just walking out looking like a complete badass. Oh, he's got shades on. I love the way this guy handles himself. All right, we're going to listen to Byron Donalds.
I don't really care what you call me, Turning Point. I'm just happy that we won and we beat the Democrats. It was an epic election. It was a fantastic election. This lady came out there. Her name was Kamala or Kamala or... I'm sorry, that's... You know, when you win, you get to have a little bit of fun. But we're on the precipice of something amazing. The opportunity is in front of us all to unleash the great next era of our country. Donald Trump calls it the golden era of America. But that's something we all can put together. There's going to be several things we're going to have to do. It's already starting now. First, the lawfare. The lawfare must go and never return to the United States. You see, Fannie, you remember Fannie, right? Well, they disbarred her. They did. Bye, Fannie. We won't miss you. Jack Smith, all of a sudden, he's gone. Merrick Garland, he will be gone in about 30 days. Chris Wray has already told us he's resigning. My good friend, the former Attorney General of Florida, is going to be the next Attorney General of the United States, and Pam Bondi. And a man who is a patriot for all of us, Kash Patel, is going to make sure that the corruption leaves the FBI once and for all. We're going to secure the nation. We're going to close the borders. We're going to build the wall again. We're going to start the largest repatriation force in American history when we repatriate illegal aliens back to their home country. The tragedies that hit the families of Laken Riley, Rachel Morin, and Jocelyn Nungari, those are tragedies that were preventable. They didn't have to happen. Donald Trump will make sure they will not happen, because we're going to make sure that these criminal illegals are out of our country starting on day one. We're going to shrink the bureaucracy. We're going to go through the bureaucratic stake. We're going to say to them, no more of your foolishness, no more of your overregulation, no more of your wasteful spending. That ends now. If you saw what happened this week in Washington, there was a bill that came up, same type of bill, comes up every lame duck right before Christmas. Everybody's trying to get out of town and slip one past the American people. But thank God for Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy for standing up with members of Congress to say, we are not doing business like that anymore. So they turned a 1,500-page bill to a 100-page bill. But we're not doing this type of business in Washington, because when we won in November, what we wanted is a country that was actually going to use common sense, a country that was going to spend money responsibly, a country that was not going to be bloated. We wanted a country that is for, by, and of the American people. And so this is why when Donald Trump comes in, one of the first orders of business is going to be getting men out of women's sports. We're going to do that one immediately. We're going to make sure that kids are protected, that their puberty is protected, because this radical insanity of transgenderism for teenagers is got to stop, and it stops on day one. Now, that's all the fun stuff. Let's talk about the real stuff. We wouldn't have had this election victory if it wasn't for all of you. You all collectively did the work that I can't do, that Donald Trump can't do, that J.D. Vance can't do. You were in your communities, in your schools, in your colleges, talking to your friends. You were knocking doors and making phone calls, talking to your neighbors. Oh, we got a phone caller over there. Hey, man. You were doing that work. But see, if you want to have the golden era of America, yes, it starts in about a month, but it doesn't stop there. What's in front of us is the largest political movement that this nation has ever seen. But that movement starts working also in about a month. You see, if you really want to win the future of our nation, it requires building the relationships that we need in every community in America. It requires the advocacy we must have in every community in America. It requires having people decide, you know what? These people who wear red hats, or these people who go to Turning Point, or these people who call themselves America Firsters or Tea Partiers, or they want to make America great again, they're just like me. They want common sense to reign in America. So our mission at this point is clear. We won the election, and I'm telling you, it was great. I was there when the garbage truck rolled out on the tarmac. It was great. I was there when he came down in the garbage, in the vest, in the sanitation vest. I was there. I was there. I've been there in every city in this country fighting hard to win this election. But the thing I know is that we're not going to win future elections without you. Now in Washington, we have one simple job that we got to do. And we got to deliver the agenda that you worked hard for, that you gave up your time for. And I'm going to tell you this, we're going to accomplish that agenda in Washington, D.C. And if any of my colleagues decide to get in the way, you will hear it directly from me, and they will be held accountable. I'm 46 now. Yeah, I know, I'm getting a little older. I'm getting a little older. But you know, black don't crack, you know. Black don't crack. Sorry, folks, it's a thing. We keep it together. I decided to get into politics because I truly believed in this country. And I figured that I had time and ability to do something about it. And my life has gone and done, it's changed in so many ways, and I've been able to do so many amazing things because of just taking that opportunity, taking a leap of faith to decide and to go out there and putting my name on the line, and frankly, putting my family on the line to fight for this country. Thank you. And I want to tell you, it has been worth it. Every sacrifice, every 6 a.m. flight, every 1:30 a.m. into the hotel in a town where the campaign event starts the next day, it's been worth it. And I want to challenge all of you here. If you commit yourself to ensuring that the golden era of America doesn't stop with one election, I promise you, you'll wake up at 46 years old and you'll be like, man, Byron was right. This is the greatest thing that could have ever happened to my life. We got a great country. We have an awesome people. We have a terrific message. And let's just be honest, we are right and the Democrats are just crazy and wrong. So let's stand together. Let's continue to fight for this country. God bless you. God bless America. The golden era is upon us. Let's get it done.
So that was Byron Donalds. Looks like, let me just tell you who's coming up next. Probably take some comments unless you guys are interested. I don't know why they put Byron up so early, but next is Congressman Abe Hamada. Not sure who he is. And that's going to be followed by Congressman Andy Biggs. And then we'll finish up with Glenn Beck. It looks like Congressman-elect Abe Hamada, they've only given him 7 minutes to speak, and they gave Andy Biggs 7 minutes to speak, but they are running about, I'd say about 30 minutes behind, so maybe they'll skip or move them along. So in any event, that's where we are right now. Let me just give you a programming note for tomorrow. Tomorrow, and I'm looking to make sure the schedule has not changed, and it hasn't. We'll be starting real early tomorrow, so go to the early service at church. Early. You need to go to church about 8 or 9 o'clock and then get back in here. We've got Matt Gaetz, who will be going on stage at 11:30 Eastern Time. Matt Gaetz at 11:30, followed by Ted Cruz, Tom Homan, Charlie Kirk, and then the boss. President Trump is scheduled to speak at about 12:30, and they've allotted the longest obviously the longest speaking time for him. They've blocked out an hour and a half. So Trump is I can't even imagine what he's going to say tomorrow. It's going to feel like a rally all over again. It's going to be awesome. 12:30 Eastern until about 2 o'clock. So we're going to go live from 11 till about, well, whenever the boss gets off stage. That's how long we'll be going for. Abe is, let's see, where's this? Abe is from, Abe was about the only one not cheated in Arizona. Okay, so he's in Arizona. Abe is from Arizona. He's ex-military and a patriot. So, all right, so when he comes out, we'll definitely take him, which is in about, it seems, 30 seconds. He's getting ready to walk out on stage right now. I'm not sure if I recognize him, but I'm sure he was probably at the Arizona event with Trump. Great show, Barry. I'm clicking in the background. Well, you got steak and mashed potatoes. Oh, that's nice. Robert and I are going to go hit some sushi after this. Barry, I love you. I will never unsubscribe. You know what the thing is? We all have opinions, like we have other stuff. You know how it goes. But, some of us have stronger opinions than others. And it's okay if we disagree. We're all on the same team. I used to make an analogy a lot when I'd say, we'd get in a huddle, and I would say the play that the coach called absolutely sucks. It ain't going to work. But you know what? When you break the huddle, you get it done. Oops, sorry. Oops, where am I? Hold on. Let me click the right button here. Get him up here. And boom.
And the crooks in the media. And we gave President Donald Trump the greatest comeback in the history of our country. President Trump, he didn't do this alone, did he? We had Charlie Kirk, we had Tyler Boyer, we had Elon Musk, so many other organizations, and every single one of you who contributed to this historic moment in our country's history. It's something we should be proud of, and it's something that you should never, ever forget. I'm so proud to be part of this America First movement. What a movement. This movement is fueled by everyday Americans who love our country. The coalition that President Trump built was so unusual. You had blacks in inner cities. You had Hispanics on the border. You had Arabs in Michigan. Just what a broad coalition. And have you seen President Trump's new cabinet? What do you think of them? We even have some Democrats a part of his cabinet. How about Tulsi Gabbard as Director of National Intelligence? President Trump, he even unified a Kennedy. We got Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is going to clean up our health system. Now, in just 2 short weeks, I'm proud to be joining them in Washington, D.C. as your next congressman. Now, we're going to make some special things happen. We are going to secure our border once and for all, especially with the leadership of Tom Homan. We are going to pass election integrity at the federal level. I know election integrity matters more than most, and believe me, President Donald Trump does as well. Now, we stop the radical Marxists in their tracks. We truly stop them from turning our country into the point of no return. But I want us to understand that the battle has just begun. Think about if the radical left won on November. Take a moment and think about it. So many of the speakers you've heard here before, so many of you maybe have been hunted down and persecuted by this radical and lawless regime. It's a miracle that President Trump won, and it's because of all of your efforts. But never forget what they've done to our country. That should motivate you to fight even harder in 2026. Now, they say that the America First movement is a threat to democracy. I don't think so. This movement is a threat to their power and to their corruption. And believe me, we are more powerful than they can ever even imagine. Never again will we sit idly by as the left destroys our country. We will no longer tolerate open borders. We will no longer allow the left to disrespect our brave law enforcement officers who go to the streets of battle every single day. They've turned our cities into Gotham, but we will restore them to their glory days. And we will never tolerate the weaponization of the rule of law again. Now, I want you to all join me. I've got some special guests joining behind me. These are our brave law enforcement officers, our brave men in blue who go to the streets of battle. Please join me in welcoming our law enforcement officers who represent the greatest police force in Arizona. Come on out. Come on. Thank you. They've got our backs, and we have their backs, don't we? I'd like to introduce to you Dave Goitia from Glendale Fraternal Order of Police. Get Dave, come say a few words.
Oh, I'm so humbled right now. You guys are amazing. My name's Dave Goitia, and I'm a proud cop. But you know, being a cop in this country, as you know, it's tough. There's a lot of violence out there. There's too many woke, radical prosecutors focused on political pandering, not focused on the bad guys. But we cops, we know how to bounce back. And we bounce back with strong leaders. Leaders like Congressman-elect Abe Hamadeh, who from day one has had our back. Abe, we love you, brother.
Love you too.
We bounce back with strong leaders like Kash Patel. Kash is going to lead the FBI and take the fight to those who would attack this country. Yeah, we lead back with strong leaders like President Donald J. Trump. You know, President Trump said, without law enforcement in this country, everything that we have disappears. He gets it. Yeah, we bounce back because of good people like you, patriotic Americans who have our six. Thank you and God bless.
We love Kash Patel, don't we? He's going to shake up the FBI. But truly, I want your takeaway to be, we are happy warriors because we love our country. We have been put on this earth at this moment for a reason. Embrace it. The battle has just begun. There's a lot of work left to save our country. So let's get started very soon. January 3rd, Congress. January 20th, we got the 45th and 47th President of the United States. And we need all of your help. God bless you, America. God bless our brave troops. And let's keep winning. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Up next is Congressman Andy Biggs. I like Andy. Andy's been talking a lot about the budget and certain things. So Andy Biggs is up next. I think they only given him like 6 or 7 minutes as well. A couple of you guys said you didn't like Abe. Why don't you guys like Abe? I haven't heard anything bad about him. So what's the objection with Abe? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. It looks like they're rolling pretty quick trying to make up time from being behind. So Andy Biggs will be walking out probably in 30 seconds or so. But I don't know what's wrong with Andy. What's his name? What's the guy's name again? Hold on. The guy who was just up there. Abe Hamadeh. Abe Hamadeh. I haven't heard anything bad about him, but Andy Biggs is walking out on stage, so we'll go ahead and take Andy right now and let him tell us what he's going to do to help get everything in place. Here we go.
Who knocked doors?
He's got Crocs on.
Who talked to your crabby neighbor about Donald Trump and got him to the polls? I'll tell you what. You're heroes. You're heroes. The country is being realigned right now. The Republican Party is being realigned. And we're being realigned demographically, economically, philosophically. And people are coming to us. And why are they coming to us? Because we've got some answers to questions that they've had. And let me tell you this, I got a bit of a problem. How many of you elected Republicans to keep funding the World Health Organization? What? How many of you are okay with Joe Biden selling off the border fence? How many of you are okay with the bill that just passed out yesterday from Congress where they're still funding the CBP One app and the Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela? Those two programs in and of themselves brought over 1.5 million illegal aliens into the country last year alone. That's what that bill did yesterday. I asked them, I said, can we take some money and set it aside, sweep it from the IRS new agents? They got $40 billion left. I said, can we take $10 billion of it and put it in account so on January 21, Tom Homan will have the money he needs to immediately start buying airplane seats, bus seats, soft-sided facilities. Can we do that? You know what they told me? They said, no. We got a problem. We have a problem. We can solve this problem. And it begins with Donald Trump being sworn in on January 20th of this year. But I want to do some prep work. I want to do some prep work for that. And that means I'm working now. My colleagues, some of them, are working now. Because what I want to have happen is when Donald Trump gets sworn in on the 21st, I want him to be able to sign a bill. The 20th, I'm sorry, he gets signed in on the 20th, but I want him to be able to sign a bill on the 21st that basically starts securing our border. That's the key. That's the key. And I'll tell you this, that's what he wants to do. I want us to get the tax package done as soon as we can, so our economy will recover. We need to do the energy package immediately. Why is that? Because when you start unleashing the natural resources that we have, all of a sudden our gas and oil prices start dropping. Prices start coming down by about 40% within 6 to 8 months. And when that happens, guess what? Every American will feel freer economically. And when you feel free economically, you feel free overall to pursue your dreams and become the person that God intended for you to become and that you want to become. This is the greatest country. It needs to give us the greatest opportunities. And it will. I'm not overselling and I'm not overpromising, but you need to be aware. Some of our guys have hinted this way, Byron and Eli and Abe. We don't have everybody just yet. So I'm going to take an informal poll right now because I don't think America elected Donald Trump and Republicans, but gave Donald Trump a landslide victory. Every battleground state, every blue state moved to the right. I don't think they did that because you want to give illegal aliens amnesty. So I actually heard this week in a bit of a debate, because I brought Tom Homan in to a meeting with 30 members of Congress and had a lady say, hey, look, what about those poor people who've been here for a while? You know, they haven't broken any laws. And Tom Homan, to his credit, said, sure they did. The second they crossed our border illegally, they broke the law. And so it's now time for us. This is our time to stand up to save this country. You've done it. We've elected President Trump. But I'm telling you right now, the midterm elections have already begun. The other side is not rested. They're a little discombobulated, though, don't you think? They're not quite sure what to do, but the one thing they do is they raise money to come after, and they know how to destroy and defame and slander, and that's what they're going to do. We're better than that. We're going to rise above it, and we're going to produce for the American people. And when we produce a great economy, a secure border, we'll see what's already happening around the world. Stability and peace breaks out. You know who the President of the United States is already, de facto, right? It's Donald Trump. Today, every foreign leader is talking to Donald Trump. You had SoftBank, big Japanese country, say, we're going to give you $100 billion and invest in America. Did they go to the White House? They went to Mar-a-Lago to Donald Trump to make that announcement. He is the de facto president. You're great Americans. We're going to make America great again together. Don't give up. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so the next speaker up will be Glenn Beck. But I want to show you something I downloaded pretty quick. I think we got enough time to play this video. This is very interesting. This was an interview that Trump did with Tucker Carlson, and he was talking about the Panama Canal. Listen to this.
Why is China allowed to conduct imperialism in our hemisphere?
Well, yeah, and it's far beyond Cuba. It's all over South America.
Yeah, in the Caribbean.
So we built a thing called the Panama Canal. We lost 35,000 people to the mosquito, malaria.
Yeah.
We lost 35,000 people building. We lost 35,000 people because of the mosquito. Vicious. They had to build under nets. But this is one of the true 7 wonders of the world. And you take a look at the Panama Canal. It was such an incredible engineering marvel. We sold it under Jimmy Carter. We sold it to Panama for $1. The following day, they quadrupled the amount of money the ships had to pay to get across. They didn't lose one ship. And now they've made it much bigger, and now they've widened it. They've doubled it, right? They've more than doubled it. And it's one of the most profitable things. Any time it's just incredible, right? We gave it away for $1. China now controls it. They actually control the Panama Canal. They run it, they control it. And we shouldn't let that happen. And we can't let China be in Cuba. And they'll get out. If I'm president, they'll get out. Because I had a very good relationship with President Xi, but he respected this country, he respected me, and he'll get out. And we can't let them run the Panama Canal. We built the Panama Canal. Should have never been given to Panama. We should have had it, but we gave it. They quadrupled. In one day, they lifted the fees, which are, pretty big, for these massive ships to go through, right? Rather than going around the Cape and through all the tremendous storms, such beauty, it's beautiful stuff. But you didn't want to get caught in those storms. Those were storms that wiped out the biggest ships. And we go through the Panama Canal, we built it, and we gave it away for $1. Think of that, how stupid are we? We have done the stupidest things in this country.
And I did not know that. Did you guys know that it is now controlled by China? All right, so we'll talk about that, but Glenn Beck is now on stage.
Can you hear me? Last time I was here, I brought some things from the American Journey Experience, which is our vault of history. And if you remember, if you were here last year, I ended with this video right here.
To trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance to come back.
All right, so I got to cut that because obviously that's from Braveheart. You guys know the movie. You can get in big trouble on YouTube for showing movie cuts. All right, so we're back without having to cut, and here we go.
I told you there's a million ways this country can fall apart, and there is only one way it stays together, and that is a miracle from the Almighty God. If we all do our part and stand where we're supposed to stand, and God will help us push it over the edge and do the things we cannot do, we'll win. God showed up, and so did you. It was a miracle when Donald Trump went down on the ground. I saw it within a minute of it being live, and I was with my family, and he went down and had no idea what was going on, and I thought immediately, if he's dead, we're in civil war. For him to turn his head and only be nicked, if that's not God saying, you know what? I think there is a new generation that's standing up and will fix this country the way it's supposed to be, to serve people. Now we are waiting. Now we are here, and he is waiting for us to do the rest of the work. We have a lot of work in front of us, but man, take a minute. Doesn't it feel good to win? If we would have won in 2020, this is the way God works. It's so amazing. I thought for sure we're done. We're done. There's a million ways to fall apart. One that will hold us together. We're done. If we would have won in 2020, if Donald Trump would have been our president, he wouldn't have had the same mindset he has today. He wouldn't have done all of the homework that he's done in the last 4 years. He wouldn't have done all the vetting to get as many weasels out. He wouldn't have had the long list, and believe me, he's checked it twice, of all the people that need to go. We have a chance to reset this nation pre-Woodrow Wilson with Donald J. Trump. I want you to know you have defeated the evil empire. And it was just as hard as this. This is from the movie, the original Darth Vader, A New Hope. This, defeating him in the movies, it is the same story, except I don't think Kamala has come out and said, I am your mother. But she could have. It was this hard to defeat the evil empire. And that is what we're looking at. When I was your age, many of your ages, I was lucky enough, 1984, first president I ever could vote for was Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan saw the problem in the world that everybody had been messing with since World War II. And he was the first one, against all advice, against everyone, to say, I'm sorry, but that is an evil empire and we will defeat it. Communism, he brought down the wall because he had the courage to speak the truth. You, Donald Trump, have spoken the truth. That was an evil empire they were building, and it will come down now. You know, when you look at the structure of everything that they were building, I honestly don't know, and a lot of my colleagues, people who do what I do, said the same thing before the election. If he doesn't win, if we don't win, we're done. I mean, personally, we're done. They will extinguish our voices. How they do that, I don't know. But they will silence anyone who stands up against it. But you know what happened? When I first went in and started the Blaze in 2010 or 11, everybody said, that's insane. Roger Ailes at Fox News actually said to me, come on, you're not really leaving to do that internet thing. That's a fad. I said, I don't think it is. I knew that the mainstream media would burn itself to the ground, and I didn't want to be anywhere near. And when we started broadcasting on Blaze TV, there was buffering. Nobody was watching because you'd see me go, and let me tell, and then the little wheel would spin for a while. Media Row out there is more powerful than ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, and MSNBC combined. It's a new world. It's a new world. And believe me, you have a better chance of seeing the next 2028 presidential debate on something like Blaze TV than you do seeing it on ABC. They're done. They are done. However, nobody gives up that much power willingly. They're not going home going, oh, gee, we lost. Gee, what are we going to do now? I don't know, Bill. You're not qualified to do anything in life. So what are they going to do? They are going to fight with everything that is in them. This is a time of peace. Right now, it seems like, whoa, dig this, we won, and there's no resistance. Believe me, when you come home after the new year and you start seeing the lead up to him being sworn in office, things are going to start happening because they are serious. It's the same thing that happened. There's all these books. These were published in England in the 1500s and 1600s. This is very, very rare. There's only a few of these. There's lots of these. These are the books that were encouraged by the king to say, yes, witches are real, and here's how you find them. This one, almost every copy was burned by the crown because this one said, no, that's not true. That's misinformation. These aren't witches. This is all about control of the individual. The king didn't want this one. He wanted everybody to read this. That's the same evil empire that we have been living under for a while now, saying, no, this is the truth. When the truth they have tried to destroy the truth every possible way they could, and they'd burn it, all of it, if they could. But the truth always wins. But they are going to continue to confuse and manipulate as much as possible. If I'm on the other side and I needed to defeat us, I know exactly how I would do it. I would confuse you and I would divide you. I would make sure that I could get in, the Declaration of Independence, the original first draft, which I brought last year in Thomas Jefferson's hand, is missing one word in the title, and that word is unanimous. The unanimous Declaration of Independence from Congress. The original draft was not unanimous. John Hancock knew everybody's got to raise their hand. We have to vote on every line, because if there's just a little space between us, any space, the king will see that light and he'll weasel his way in and he'll break us all apart and he'll divide us and then he'll hang every one of us. So we have to look for the light that is between us. We have to know who the good guys are, who the bad guys are, who's actually on the team. And now that we have all of this popularity, suddenly Donald Trump is cool with everyone. We have to make sure those who wear masks are not coming in and claiming to be part of this team, and they have no intention of being on the team. I asked a bunch of small people, I guess, for a chalkboard, because this is as good as it got. Just think of me as a giant in this actual size. This is where we have been, and I just want to show this quickly to you. I'm going to do an episode on this later, but yesterday I was flying here, and this kind of came to mind. This has been a timeline, if you will, of anarchy and totalitarianism. And I've gone over it several times. The United States, when we were founded, we were trying to get away from total control, an anarchy through a king, despot. What we wanted was freedom. We wanted to be ourselves. We wanted to explore our own journey. We didn't want to have to jump through hoops and unions and everything else. We didn't want somebody above us to say, I'm sorry, you're not born of the right parents. You can't do that. We wanted freedom, and we wanted total freedom, but total freedom, when there is no authority, it goes into anarchy. So total control and anarchy. When we first won, we did the Articles of Confederation. Most people don't know this. George Washington was technically not our first president. Our first president, I don't even remember his name, but he didn't last long because it was under the Articles of Confederation, and he wasn't a real president like we understand now. That was too weak, and the states were still fighting amongst themselves. We couldn't get trade done. We couldn't get anything done, and they knew it. And so at night, they got together again and said, we have to come up with something new. And that something ended up being our Constitution in 1789 and in 91, just for the stupid people that they knew would become politicians. They said, let's clarify a few things and put them under the Bill of Rights. I'm convinced everything after the first 10 amendments to the Bill of Rights, the first 10 are there in the Bill of Rights. Everything else, almost without exception, is, and I think it's the liberty lovers that had to say to the then Democrats, good Lord, guys, no. When we say all men are created equal, that does mean black people too. The next amendment, no. When we said that means black people too, that means they can also vote just like you. I mean, it is just an excoriation of stupid politicians after the top 10. But Jackson and Lincoln and Theodore Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson, who destroyed us. Thank you. I love anyone who hates Wilson as much as me. They kept moving us, slowly but surely moving us towards total control. And by the time we got to Joe Biden, we were right here. We were within arm's reach of total control. So, luckily, people woke up. But it was hard to defeat because we had against us the mainstream media, the Democrat progressives, the rhinos, Republican progressives, the unions, all the Soroses out there, the NGOs, the Marxists, the anarchists that are actually communists. I love those guys. How confusing is that? Then the corporations. We also had on the on the left, voting and pushing their control with the Democrats in a different understanding. People like Elon Musk and Tulsi and RFK. They were all on that other side. And then COVID began to wake them up. And they were like, oh, dear God, they actually don't believe those top 10 things in the Bill of Rights. I think I'm with the wrong crowd. And they slowly started to peel off from there. And now we have Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is trying to take us here. Donald Trump, if he can do the things that he is claiming he can do, and I believe he can, if we stay together and with him, he's going to undo everything Theodore Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, and FDR, and Johnson, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden did. He will reverse this, and we will be close to true freedom again, the freedom that only Americans truly understand. But here's our job. Our job is to make sure, because I don't know if you've noticed this, a lot of people now are saying, I'm with Donald Trump. Are you really? There are those that were over there, like The View. Those ladies will go down with a ship in flames. Liz Cheney, some unions, the Marxists, the communists that are also anarchists, some NGOs, they're with the old regime. They're with the dark empire. Some of them have come down here. For instance, Morning Joe, the mainstream media. Morning Joe is like, you know what? I know I called him Hitler 40 times a day for the last 16 years, but I think he's a really good guy. Right. But he's now on the bandwagon. They're now like, oh, we like Trump. I mean, we don't really love him, but we understand him. Wait, if he's Hitler, that doesn't work for me. So you were either lying then or you're lying now. My guess is you were lying both times. We also have the rhinos, the Mike Johnsons of the world. Guy who claims to have our values. I think he's a decent human being. He's a good Christian, but he is not on the train. That's obvious by what we saw on Tuesday and Wednesday. He's somebody who will stand in this line and say, I'm with, but not really. Better one is John Cornyn, the same thing. Mitch McConnell. The rhinos are in this as well. Some union workers, some unions are down here as well now with Trump, and some union workers. I think most of the union workers are kind of with us and really with Trump, but we have to be careful because all of the unions aren't the same. All of the people aren't the same. So if you've ever been over here, we have to be careful. We have to watch, trust, as Reagan said, but verify. There you have the NGOs. You also have Elon, Tulsi, and RFK here, who, I have to tell you, Elon Musk, if you had something broken in your business, and you could ask anyone on the planet, I think it would be Elon Musk. I think Elon Musk, if he understands and what he's done to X, which gave us the chance to speak free, what he's done with X shows me he understands the Bill of Rights. RFK 20 years ago actually called me a traitor to the United States, and I said to him, you know, that's the only thing that has a consequence in the Constitution. Treason is you should execute. And he said, I was like, oh, okay. So when he started to run, he asked if he could be on the show, and I sat down with him for an hour, and I started there. Do you remember? It's funny. We can laugh now, huh? When you called for my execution because I believed in the Bill of Rights, he said, I changed. And I said, yeah, a lot of people can say I changed. Tell me when you changed. He said, Glenn, I believed a lot of that stuff because I was so convinced that I was right and others were wrong. And I never really thought our government could ever really, truly get out of control. But when COVID hit, I saw the light. I never thought we would ever do that, and we did. I want nothing to do with that kind of control. And Tulsi is as honest as the day is long. I just love Tulsi Gabbard. Let me tell you now what we have to do to stay together. We just have to recognize what our values and principles are. And last year I asked if you would read the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, because the Declaration of Independence is our mission statement. That's what we're trying to build. And there's no more glorious mission statement than that one. Let me give you something this year that will make it easier for you. Does anybody recognize what this is? Why don't you all stand up for just a second? Just stand up, take your hat off for just a second. Say this with me. You ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right? Let me translate that for you. Let me translate that for you into something that shows you what you're actually saying, because we say that all the time and the words become almost meaningless. So let me show you. Me, pledge, solemnly promise, pledge allegiance, which is loyalty, to the flag, a symbol of our country, and to the republic. What is a republic? A state in which supreme power rests with the people, and the people have a right to vote. For which it stands, remains firm and steadfast, and to let's see, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, a people of a land, any land, a people collected in any land that are aware of their unity. You can't have a country unless you're aware of our unity and what brings us together. That's what we have forgotten. God, a creator, indivisible, incapable of being divided, incapable of being divided. Liberty and justice for all, free from despotic rule, with equal and just laws for not just me, but all. This is what we pledge. It's not about the flag. If you want to find out, is somebody truly on our side, you look for these things. You look for someone who is truly taking a solemn promise to stand with loyalty to a republic, a state which its supreme power rests with all of us, not just me, but you and you and you, all of us. We will remain firm and steadfast to defend these things. We believe in a creator. If you don't believe in a creator, I don't know how you can truly understand America, because we are different. We're different than the rest of the world. We were created by a God that gave us these rights, with this republic protects. So you have to have a creator, and understand that when you have all of these, because if we're in a land where everyone is aware of our unity, we're united on these rights, we are incapable of being divided. From despots, from totalitarianism, from all of the things that we stood up against, we will win and continue to move the ball forward if we look at who we're standing next to, who's now claiming, I've been with you the whole time now. I don't think so. Do they take these things seriously? That's why we were here. That's why this cup, made of wood, traveled on the Mayflower with our pilgrims. This is why they came, to serve God. And to best serve God, you serve your fellow man. Blessed be the peacemakers. That doesn't mean your life is going to be full of peace. Jesus didn't have a lot of peace in his time. They executed him. But he stood as a peacemaker. Peacemakers stand at a time when there is no peace and speak the truth so others may have peace, so their children and grandchildren can have peace. Because I want you to know that we live in an incredible country with incredible things just ahead of us. We have now, with this election, turned the page to an entirely new chapter. We're like halfway through the book. And instead of putting the end, we just said part 2. But you get to write what this nation does. That's an incredible opportunity and an incredible responsibility. But remember, all you have to do is believe, truly believe, not in magic, but in the Republic and the things which she stands for. You have to believe in the best of one another. You have to stand together to make sure evil does not creep in. But when you believe, you have the power. We have had the power the whole time. Just like Dorothy did in The Wizard of Oz. It's not quite as easy as clicking your heels together, but almost. Now, one more thing. The shooting of the healthcare executive on the streets of New York. There are people that are saying this is a good thing. If we lived in a cartoon world, it might be. If we lived in the former Soviet Union, maybe, but we don't. What the people on the left that are supporting the killer are actually saying is, we need Batman. This is the fireproof mask from Batman Begins. We don't need Batman. Batman is vigilante justice, and it's okay if you live in Gotham. But we do not live in Gotham. Vigilante justice goes against everything we just said. We do it the right way. We stand for the right things, and we let the rule of law judge, not this. There was a movie where this was opened, and he put it back in his pocket, and then he traveled the world. And when he saw his father said, surely my son's not dumb enough to pack my journal all the way over here. And Indy went, Dad, this is the journal from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. This is the journal that his dad wrote down everything to help you find the cup of the carpenter. And there were several things that you had to know that he had written down in this book. Otherwise, you'd never make it. This book is our Constitution. This book is the Federalist Papers. This book is our Bill of Rights, our Declaration of Independence. Everything you need to know to be able to get to the cup of the carpenter. This is the one Indy picked. To get here, you have to know what has been written down. You don't need to make it up. You don't have to go ask all these experts on TV, because it's already right there in one little place. Read it. And if you want to keep a free country, read it, read the Bible, and choose carefully. Thank you very much. Good night.
Well, that kind of tied together pretty well, didn't it? I mean, there's probably still some people who don't understand what I was saying earlier, but that kind of tied it all together in one big bow. I'm not even going to add too much to that. I'm just going to let you chew on that fat for a while. Great speech. Great speech. I didn't know that's what he was going to say. But if you wanted, there were some people in the comments were like, well, Glenn didn't like Trump. It's called enlightenment. RFK Jr. Called for Glenn Beck's death, but then said, hey, can you put me on your show? It's called enlightenment. You see, we're only this far away from making wrong decisions. And if Glenn Beck didn't talk to Trump and figure out where his head was and also see what the opposite of Trump was, he could still be wandering around out there, talking about Mitt Romney or somebody. If RFK Jr. didn't talk to Glenn Beck and figure out, oh, this is not what he feels about this and that, and then they could come together. You see, there are some people that you're never going to reach. I'm not even talking about them. They're off the reservation. But I would love to sit in front of a couple of these women who shaved their heads. I would love to say, before we start talking about Trump, before we even get into a discussion about MAGA, let me ask you one question. Do you believe in this country? Are you willing right now to basically swear allegiance to it? Depending on that answer, I would say, do you believe in God? Because at that point, now I know what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with someone who doesn't even love the country. You see, there's a lot of Democrats who love the country. There are a lot of Democrats who believe in God and Jesus Christ. A lot. A whole bunch. So there's a discussion to be had. You just saw one. And I saw some people put, well, he's a Mormon. Okay. But there's some common ground that we can all reach. Some stuff we can talk about. And then some people were saying, you remember the song, the poem, The Snake? I know. I'm smart enough to discern if there's a snake out there and not to let him close. I don't not walk through the woods because there's snakes out there. You don't even go into the woods? Let me know. Are you somebody who knows there's snakes in the woods and bears and other stuff? Do you never go into the woods again? I live in Florida. There's a vast beach right there. You know there's sharks out there, Barry. Yeah. Do I never go in the water because there's sharks out there? No, I still go in the water. I even, Robin took me to this crazy place out in the Everglades. And we're walking along this boardwalk. Might have been like maybe, 18, 24 inches off of the swamp. But it might as well have been level. And I look over, and there's something looking back up at me. I'm looking, that's a gator right there. But it was so beautiful where we were walking out on that dock. And when I say dock, it was a mile worth of dock. And that same dock, I saw a video when we got back that some lady was filming a video and a mountain lion, we call them the Florida Panthers, the Florida Panther came running and it didn't go matter, just ran past her. But you go back out there. You know this stuff is out there. Those of you who hunt, you go out there and there's wild hogs and there's bears and all kinds of crazy stuff. Lions and tigers and bears. Doesn't keep you out the woods. Doesn't keep you out of the woods. Some of you who are saying that, hey, this person's a snake or that person's a snake, there's snakes probably right out there in my grass. Doesn't stop me from walking barefoot when I got to walk Midas here in a little bit. I'm just going to walk out there in the grass. If I see a snake, ooh, snake, move. I'm able to discern as an adult. I'm able to discern as a Christian what is and what can. I guess Robin telling me it's a boardwalk, you idiot. All right, it's a boardwalk. And it was really hot when we were out there, so it was even worse. But nonetheless, what I'm saying is ask God for discernment. If you're going to talk to a Democrat or a liberal, before you do so, put that armor of God on if you're not really sure and say, hey, let's talk about some things. You can look side-eye. I'm not really sure where you stand. You might be one of those fakesters just trying to get close to MAGA because Trump's in office. Do you pledge allegiance to the flag? Or are you one of them kneeler types? Oh, I can't pledge allegiance. Okay, just want to know. I've always told you, those of you guys who have asked me, is, living in the South, are you worried about, racist? No, I'd rather walk past you and you tell me I'm an N-word than wonder if you're not. Because once you declare that, then I know what you are and tell you to go, I got nothing to do with you. But until you said that to me, I'm good. Let's talk. In closing, let me tell you a quick story, true story. Robin, way back, was working as a server in a restaurant. She invited me to a party. So we went to the party. It was a cookout at one of her friends' father's house. And we're sitting there watching the Miami Dolphins play. And we're playing a card game. And I forget which categories and whichever game it was. And you give the clue and the person says something back to you, these things are in the ocean. Oh, fish. These things you put on a Christmas tree. Oh, lights. True clue. There's a road down here called Dixie Highway. It's not in the best of areas. There's areas that you don't want to be in if you're a certain melanin challenged person. And I was talking to Robin, and he was on her team, and I said, these things run along Dixie Highway. And these things that run along Dixie Highway, the answer was train tracks. That's not what he said. Out of the blue, without any hesitation, hey, these things run along Dixie Highway. Enters. I'm like, did he just really say that, looking at me? And Robin's hitting me with the knee under the table, because I'm like, should I leap over the table and just give this guy the what for? And so okay. So we stopped playing. I walked away. And I started watching a football game. And I happened to, be holding a beer, watching a game. And it was a kickoff. And one of the Miami Dolphins guys caught it back when the Dolphins did good things. And he broke a couple tackles and was running towards the end zone. And this guy, not even thinking, oh my gosh, look at that enter run. I'm done. I'm done. And we left. But I gave him a chance. I gave him a chance to expose himself or to show me that he wasn't like that. It was a mistake. Second time, I had to bail. I'm good. Don't want the food. Don't want nothing. We out. Poor girl that worked with Robin was so embarrassed. I can't even believe he did that twice. My point with that is, until you engage, you don't know. Somebody may be enlightened at this point. Somebody may realize, you know what, that was wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have been shaving my head and acting stupid. Give them a chance. You never know what you might find. It's just, you just never know. Being on this planet for so long, that's one of the things it's taught me. Just give people a chance. All right, so, and it works both ways. I'll tell you a story about one of the churches Robin and I went to when we came down here one day. It will curl your hair when I tell you about it. I mean, seriously. All right, so we're going to start giving away some hoodies. By the way, if you want to register to win a hoodie, go to fanfareshop.org and you can register to win a hoodie. Just no charge. It's free. Just go ahead and put your name in there and you can win a hoodie. All right, so let's go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot about Tommy's drum roll. And where is it? Drum roll, please. Here we go. First person, Vera Kirkbride. Vera Kirkbride, you have won a free hoodie. Let's go with number 2. And let me play the drum roll again. The winner is Graham Hollingworth. Graham Hollingworth, you have won another hoodie. And one more, and let's run it. Boom. Wanda Gail Newsom. Wanda Gail Newsom, you have won a hoodie. So expect an email from Ashley relatively soon, and she'll get your mailing address and your size, and we can get out the hoodie. At this point, I wouldn't expect it until after the first of the year, because she ain't going to be working next week, because I'm going to be up there with the kids. So we ain't going to be doing nothing next week. Next week, it's Christmas. Christmas is coming. I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas. Understand why we celebrate Christmas, but enjoy it. Enjoy it with your family. I'm talking a lot of crap because there's only going to be so much time I want to spend. I'm going to have to sneak off into the office, the Verbo we rented, and I'm going to set up my camera there. So I won't go live, so you guys are probably going to be too busy. But I'll do some video. I went and got went and grabbed the GoPro, so we're all set there to drive around up there in North Carolina and driving up the road there and everything. So yeah, here we go. All right, so I took my daughter on an airboat in the Everglades. Oh yeah, that's fun. That's a lot of fun. And then you realize, hey man, them animals looking at me differently. Like, you ain't supposed to be out here. Yeah, this is our neck of the woods. I've lived in the woods of Arkansas and had one come at me. Ooh, boy, that's crazy. Thanks for a good show. Before I jump into the super chats, just want to let you know again, tomorrow it is a early show. Tomorrow we are going live at, what did I say? 11 o'clock. And we've got Matt Gaetz, Ted Cruz, Tom Homan, Charlie Kirk, and then President Trump at 12:30. Those times are Eastern. So, and he's going to be talking for quite some time, and I think he's going to light it up. I'm pretty sure Trump is going to light it up. All right, so let me go ahead and do some super chatting. I recognize these people. Let's see here. Come up, yeah, native here, and to say you kicked off the reservation, highly offensive. There were no reservations till you all came. This is a no offense zone. Come on, you don't even know my heritage. What if I told you that my grandmama was a Native American Indian? So, kind of hard for me to, talk bad about myself. In fact, at one point, we thought we were going to get some casino in the tribe that she was in. And then I went to a school which was called the Northwest Catholic Indians, and they changed their name during the woke period. So please, I'm not saying anything bad. I apologize if I did. Let's see. Merry Christmas to you and your beautiful wife. See you tomorrow. Bring a pouty lefty with me to show them how wonderful MAGA is. Awesome. Tommy Radcliffe, I don't believe the Mormons take on Jesus, but I believe that Glenn is a fair guy, and he knows and loves our country, and we all need to stick together. I think they call that the melting pot. Kim Hansen again did not appreciate the reservation mark. I apologize. I'm bad. But I'm also a Native American blood. Merry Christmas to all, even Glenn Beck and his church. Jesus is God, not lesser than any gods, and equal to the Father who is eternal. We are made. Yes, thank you. Sally, thank you for fanfare. Very Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Kim, thank you, Kim. Even though you took offense, I'm sorry, but you've been very good. We are paying for Francis Scott Key Bridge. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. Who's getting their pockets lined with that stadium and the bridge? Love God first. Thank you so much, Barry. I truly enjoy this channel. I appreciate how you watch the news and present it to us with such clarity. Thank you. You're one of the sharpest analysts. Thank you very, very much. You're making me blush here. Byron for Speaker of the House, says Tim Allred. Yeah, I would love to see that as well. I think he would be very, very good. Let's see here. Demon of Cybertron. Election integrity can't happen if they don't release the two lists. Oh, I got to show you something. Before we go, let me remind you, I got to show you something Elon posted, which is why they hate him. Tim Allred, Kari Lake is a fine woman, absolutely gorgeous. From Dave the Patriot Barry, there are no consequences for the left. They don't even realize they got their asses handed to them. Oh, they realize it. They just can't say it. Tommy Radcliffe sent 2 more guitar vids. All right, I'll look them up. I promise. Jerry L. Merry Christmas, Barry. Mods and chat. Merry Christmas to you. And Big Cat. So glad to be here this weekend. By Barry and Mac. And don't forget, tomorrow, 11:30. All right, so I've got to show you before we leave. This is too funny. Because you mentioned the aforementioned list. Let me see if I can find it. Elon Musk posted this. And you know this just ticked people off. All right, so where is it? Did he take it down? He never takes stuff down. He was talking about, now I can't find, oh, here it is. This is just too funny. All right, so you guys got to see this before we leave. This is just too funny. Hold on. Oh, all right, so, well, let's find out, shall we? Is all he tweeted. But what he had asked for was Podesta Clinton, Hanks and Epstein, or Diddy. You know, just by him putting this out there, completely freaked out a whole lot of people because he was just talking about boats. Now, y'all can't get mad. We're just talking about boats here. Who's got the bigger boat? Who's got the bigger boat right now? Let's see. Podesta and Clinton, Hanks and Epstein, or Diddy? Oh boy, right now the Democrats are losing it. I mean, absolutely. This guy put this out, and it appears here that 11.8 million people have seen it. There's someone with not a single one to give. He just doesn't care. Oh my goodness. Yeah, wow. Not a single one to give. Still here, Barry. As you can see, I have of Indian blood too. yeah. Hello, Barry from Salem, Oregon. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Glenn Beck brought the house down, but not like the man is going to do tomorrow. You can expect there to be some fireworks. I'm not sure why they're doing it so early, but we'll be here. Matt Gaetz is probably going to be on fire. Tom Homan, I know, is going to be on fire. And then Trump, yeah, he's going to bring the house down. All right, thank you guys for tuning in for, 3 hours. Love you. Talk to you guys tomorrow.